Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto leaves Konoha and has a child. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Arashi Uchiha and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Hachishaka-sama's Resurgence. 15 years later in Fire Country. On the night of the Kyuubi attack was a priest shrine temple that held lots of treasures, historical data, scrolls, you name it. On that fateful night earthquakes were rumbling from Konoha, the Leaf Village, to the capital of Fire Country. The Kyuubi was attacking the Leaf Village as its shinobi were trying to defend it. Inside the temple various objects were shaking due to the earthquakes as some stuff fell off shelves like pots, vases and small statues. The temple was looking a mess as paintings fell down with scrolls falling off the bookcase. Only thing that was still standing was a pedestal that was holding something on top of it, and what was it holding was a 30-inch Jizo seal statue, as you could see writing with a warning by saying, "Don't touch. Very dangerous entity sealed inside." Now what was so dangerous about this Jizo seal statue? And what was it containing? With one more earthquake the pedestal tilted and with a slow motion, the Jizo seal statue fell off and fell onto the ground broken in half. Once the statue fell apart, a rather tall shadowed figure manifested itself out the broken statue looming over its broken prison. "Po po 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 po," chanted a masculine voice the shadowed being was doing as it smiled creepily, stretching out its long arms and long slender legs as it began to spoke. "I am free. I am free from the confines of that accused prison those monks sealed me in," the shadowed figure said in a female voice as she looked around her surroundings. Seeing that she was in a temple of some sort by the looks of it, she grinned coldly, turning to her direction. She sensed a lot of yokai chakra. And it was coming from Konoha. For 50 years she had been sealed away during the Second Shinobi War. And now that yokai chakra was attracting her. She needed it because the Jizo seal held her in for so long that she was getting thirsty for yokai power. She walked up towards a wall and punched it, making a big hole as she floated in the air, taking to the dark sky. As she flew to where Konoha was, her dark blue eyes saw a giant fox destroying a village. She grinned, sensing its anger, its rage. Its magnificent amount of yokai chakra. She was on her way to that giant fox and tried to absorb some of its chakra to replenish her stamina and power. Outskirts of Konoha. The spirit made her way to her destination, following the fox as she floated up in the air, watching as she widened her eyes, seeing a red-haired woman using gold chains to restrain the fox. The woman tilted her head, watching with interest as her eyes widened more, seeing a blonde man in a coat with flames perform a sealing jutsu, but what shocked her more was she saw the Shinigami. Helped the blonde man seal away the fox before he and the red-haired woman were impaled by the fox's claw. From what she saw was that these two were protecting a baby boy. And wondered why the fox went so low to try and kill the child, as it was sealed up by the child. Before the Shinigami could leave, he cast a glance at the 8-foot-tall woman as she looked back at him unfazed. As the Shinigami finally vanished away, he was aware of what the 8-feet-tall woman was and knew of her history. As he regarding what she did years ago, he said nothing and just vanished, leaving her alone. She fed after seeing him and focused her attention on the newborn baby boy. Crying, she reached out her long arms, picking him up, looking at him, seeing he had whisker marks on his face and baby fat on his cheeks. Looking at the child, she felt the little baby glow red, leaking red chakra as it seeped inside her. She widened her eyes, feeling her strength and ghost physical form increase. She put him down by his dead parents, feeling a tingling sensation from the touch and the chakra while she creepily grinned. "You will do, Naruto Uzumaki," she spoke gently as she reached her arms out to grab him, only to stop hearing voices and someone coming. She hid in the bushes. She saw old man in battle armor with two-leaf shinobi. As she saw the old man pick up Naruto, coming to Kushina Uzumaki, who was half alive, that didn't go unnoticed by the 8-foot-tall woman. She listened to Kushina saying that her son's name was Naruto Uzumaki towards the Sandaime, as the 8-foot-tall woman watched, seeing him and the shinobi carry Naruto and the dead bodies of Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. 12 years and 12 years I will be back for you, Naruto-kun. It's time I adjust to this new era and see what has changed during my imprisonment, and maybe I could learn a few things like jutsu and much more. He will be an exception. As for the other children, they will be dead to me," she said before floating up in the sky. "The Hachishaka-sama is back, elemental nations," Hachishaka-sama said before vanishing away, not to be seen. Time skipped 12 years later. In Fire Country motel room was a blonde boy in an orange jumpsuit who was grumbling and frowning, looking annoyed. "Of course that perverted sage would leave me here instead of training me. But he's so busy doing his research. What's the point in going on this 3-year training trip if he's going to be doing this?" said Naruto, looking annoyed at the fact his sensei Jiraiya of the Sannin was probably peeping in bathhouses or at hot springs peeping at women when he should be training him some super cool new jutsu since his other sensei Kakashi never taught him much but teamwork and tree climbing. While Sasuke learned more than he did. Envious of Sasuke, Naruto was he, though he was glad that he left the village. He hated seeing those glares and all those mobs who tried killing him when he was younger. The orange-clad genin laid on the bed sighing in frustration as a knock appeared on the door. He instantly got up looking irritated. "So you got caught, didn't you? I knew it. Now come on and train me. Pervy sage," Naruto exclaimed as the door was knocked harder. Open the door, Naruto. I lost my key," spoke Jiraiya, making the blonde frown deeper, having an annoyed look. Alright, enough with the knocking," Naruto said, walking to the door, opening it only to widen his eyes in shock. He froze. He was expecting Jiraiya, but not expecting to see a 8-foot-tall woman wearing a white morning dress and a big white sun hat looking at him with a gentle expression, but he also stared at her big breasts, that's so huge and fully developed, much larger than Tsunade's. She had long black hair reaching to her curvy hips. He rubbed his eyes, hoping he wasn't seeing things or was in a jinjutsu. "She's huge," was his only thought. Come to me, Naruto-kun," she spoke softly, reaching her arms to grab him and vanished, taking him with her, only leaving his Konoha shinobi headband behind. 2.5 hours later. Jiraiya returns, coming to motel with a perverted grin and a few large bumps on his head. "Oigaki. I'm back, are you ready to train now?" spoke Jiraiya as he made it to his room but froze and gasped, seeing that his room was left opened and he saw Naruto's headband on the floor. "Oh my kami," he yelled, rushing forward getting the headband. No. My kami, why did I leave him alone? The Akatsuki couldn't have followed our tracks. I have to find him. And fast," he said with horror, running out the motel fast as guy. "My kami. Tsunade is going to kill me. Take it easy, Jiraiya, you can find the Gaki." He couldn't have gotten that far, thought Jiraiya as he prayed and hoped he could find Naruto. To be continued. Chapter 2. Gone. For half week it has been since Naruto's disappearance. Jiraiya had looked all over Fire Country trying to find him, but yet no luck. The Toad Sannin was worried and scared of his life, of what Tsunade would do to him if she finds out Naruto was missing or presumably captured. "Oh my kami, still no trace of him. I'm going to die. Tsunade will kill me if she finds out, and if I die then Minato and Kushina will kill me in the afterlife," he said, feeling nervous, smacking his forehead. Just what was he thinking? Leaving Naruto alone like that? He should have trained him first, then go peep to work on his research. This is bad. I have to find him. How could he have vanished? He thought, walking into a building to ask anyone have they seen Naruto. Before he could ask the clerk, he looked over at a wall, seeing something that caught his attention. He saw various missing posters of children who were abducted and taken away. He walked towards the wall looking from each missing poster of a child. Fire Country had some sort of child kidnapper or something. Because if that was the case, then what is this? Jiraiya asked as the clerk turned to his attention, looking sadly at the wall full of missing children. Those are children who have been gone missing for years and never returned to Fire Country or their parents," he answered, shocking Jiraiya. "Years? When did this start?" Jiraiya asked, looking shocked at the information. "It's been happening on the day after the Kyuubi attack. From what I heard, lots of children turned up missing and their whereabouts were unknown. Parents, friends and siblings have searched day and night for their missing children or siblings," the clerk said with a sad face. "Does the Fire Daimyo know about this?" Jiraiya asked, with the store clerk nodding. "Yes, he knows. He sent all of his samurai to do a patrol all around the Fire Country capital and city to keep a close eye on children and has often told adults to keep a watchful eye on their children," he said, looking away. "I wonder why didn't he request Konoha shinobi for assistance," he wondered. "I don't know why. Try taking it up with him," the clerk said, with Jiraiya looking at him, noticing the guy's saddened expression. "You too?" he said, with the clerk nodding. "Yes, I lost my son. He has been missing for 5 years. Me and my wife and my parents have tried to find him and we still couldn't find him," said the clerk, looking sad. "We entrusted a babysitter to look after him because me and my wife were busy with our work, but that fateful day we made a mistake in doing that," said the clerk, looking away. "Do you have any chance by know of the culprit who has been abducting children?" Jiraiya asked, wanting to know. "I'm afraid not. Ask the daimyo or someone else. I have no idea who the culprit is," said the clerk. "Has there been any more kidnappings?" he asked again, just to be sure. "The last kidnapping happened a month ago and things has been quiet since then," he said before heading back to the desk. Jiraiya thought long and hard about this. He had to write a report about this information and send this to Tsunade, but paled at the thought of doing that. Scared she'll ask about Naruto's progress in his training, meaning he would have to tell her he lost Naruto. He would have to think of a way to somehow lie to her to buy him time to find Naruto. Jiraiya needed answers, and he needed them now, because if it wasn't the Akatsuki that kidnapped Naruto, then this mysterious culprit must have. Jiraiya left the store to seek an audience with the daimyo for answers. Maybe the daimyo knew what was going on and probably knew who the culprit was. But Naruto. Waking up from Naruto blinked his eyes rubbing them. He was asleep for a week looking around his surroundings. He noticed he wasn't in the motel. This looked like one of them clan compound rooms. He slowly got up noticing he was wearing a kimono with a hint of orange with red Uzumaki swirls on them, looking confused, wondering what happened to his orange jumpsuit. "Where am I?" He spoke. "Hello?" He said, hoping was there anyone here. "Oh," said a voice that made him jump. "Step inside, Naruto-kun," said a soft female voice. "How do you know me? Who are you?" He said, trying to find where was this girl. Naruto-kun, so you can eat," said the gentle female voice again, with him following the voice as it led him to a kitchen. As once he got there he instantly blushed at the sight of the woman before him. This was the same woman that took him away out of the motel. He was so stunned at her beauty, seeing her beautiful gentle face staring into her dark blue eyes, looking down at the very white dress she was wearing. As breasts were big, as Tsunade's, just everything about her was big. Her arms were long, her hands were big, her legs were smooth and slender, having a curvy waist. Naruto stood there lost, looking at her, wondering who was this beautiful tall woman, as he noticed she was at the stove cooking something. As he inhaled the smell, seeing she was cooking ramen. His favorite. "Sit down, your ramen is almost ready," said Hachishaka-sama, seeing Naruto sit down. "Who are you?" he asked her softly. "I am Hachishaka-sama, Naruto-kun," she introduced, bringing him a bowl of miso ramen. "Hachishaka-sama," he said, remembering her name as she nodding before holding some chopsticks full of ramen, passing it to him. "Open up," she said softly like an angel as he opened his mouth, with her putting the ramen in his mouth as he started chewing on it, eating it. "How is it, Naruto-kun?" she said, looking at him. The blonde widened his eyes in amazement at the taste of her miso ramen. It was just like what he has at Konoha, except it's better. "It's great. It tastes just like old man Tuchi's ramen," he said with a grin as she smiled, gently pushing the bowl of ramen to him. "Eat up, Naruto-kun, before it gets cold. Will I start the bathhouse for us?" she said, walking out with a devious grin on her face. "Alright, Hachi-chan." As he wolfed down on the ramen, not paying attention at the last word she said. After he finishes the ramen with a happy smile, he looked around for Hachishaka-sama, looking for her. He heard her say bathhouse. He noticed there was steam coming out a room which looked like a bathhouse. As he went looking around, only for his eyes to widen and face to glow bright red with his nose bleeding. Get in, Naruto-kun, the water is great just for us," she said, smiling at his reaction. "I have to join you," he squeaked out, unable to look away from her body that was naked. She was wearing nothing and didn't have a towel wrapped around her. On, Naruto-kun," she reached out her long arms, taking his kimono off him before pulling the stunned blonde in the water with her. "Now let's bathe together, Naruto-kun, I'll clean you up first," she said, stroking his chest while leaning in to kiss the blonde. Naruto froze as his brain shut down, feeling her kiss him. To be continued. Fire Daimyo Castle. For about a day Jiraiya went to the Fire Daimyo's castle to speak to him about this mysterious culprit who has been kidnapping children. "So Jiraiya-sama, you want to know about who the culprit is?" spoke the Fire Lord, with the Toad Sage nodding. "Yes, I wish to know. Why haven't you informed Konoha about this situation? We could have helped," the Toad Sage said with a frown, seeing the Fire Daimyo sigh. "I will explain why I didn't listen. Whatever you do, what we discuss in my throne room stays a secret. It can't be said out public. Fail to comply and I will see to it you will be put to death," the Fire Lord said seriously, as Jiraiya frowned hearing the threat but nodded. "The culprit who has been kidnapping Fire Country's children, from what my priests say, is that a spirit is culprit," said the Fire Daimyo, making Jiraiya raise a brow, looking confused. "A spirit? A spirit? What would a spirit want with children?" Jiraiya asked, wanting the Fire Lord to elaborate on what he was trying to say. "From what my priests say, that this is just not any spirit but also yakai at that. Tell me, Jiraiya-sama, have you heard of Hachishaka-sama?" the daimyo said, making the Toad Sage tense, looking at him. Now Jiraiya had been familiar with the Hachishaka-sama, but it just can't be possible. He believed she was a myth or a made-up legend that frightened adults and children. "Hachishaka-sama? Daimyo-sama, you don't mean that Hachishaka-sama? Do you?" Jiraiya exclaimed, with his expression turned to panic as he remembered his sensei telling him and his teammates the tale about Hachishaka-sama and what she does in her nature. "Yes, Hachishaka-sama has been targeting lots of children in Fire Country. She tried to take my child away but failed since my priests used the proper seals and tools to keep her at bay from my son," the daimyo said with a sigh of relief. "Wait, your son saw Hachishaka-sama?" Jiraiya said, shocked. "Yes, he saw her in the gardens. He was frightened when he saw her as he ran instantly in the palace to tell me what he saw," the daimyo said, waving his fan. The moment my priests told me about this Hachishaku-sama and that she was responsible for so many child kidnappings, I couldn't tell the civilian population about Hachishaku-sama. If I did, then the entire country will be up in uproar because of her, and I couldn't call Konoha for help, seeing it would make the situation worse, he explained, looking away as Jiraiya stood there with his horrified expression. Hachishaku-sama took Naruto, and it's all his fault for leaving him alone. Without a word he bolted out the throne room running, ignoring the fire daimyo calling his name. No. No. I must find him. He yelled in thought. Hang in there, Naruto. He yelled, still running. Now that he got the answers from the daimyo, it was clear that he needed to find Naruto ASAP. But Naruto 3 months later. Naruto lived happily and peaceful with his new loved interest Hachishaku-sama. Living in the compound as he was outside training until she returned, he needed to train and be strong enough to protect her and his soon-to-be family with her. She herself trained him and given him various scrolls to work on new training methods whenever she's away, leaving him warm raiment to satisfy his hunger. Wiping the sweat off his forehead from doing sit-ups, he walked back in the compound eating fresh hot ramen as he heard the door open, seeing her walk in the kitchen. Hachi-chan, you're back. He said with a warm smile, running to her, hugging her as she hugged him back. Training hard, have you, Naru-kun? She said, gently putting her big hand over her swollen stomach that showed she was indeed pregnant. Yes, I missed you. He exclaimed with her giggling. Well, now that I'm back, go get in the bath, I'll join you when I finish cooking dinner, she spoke, warming, seeing him nod, running off as she smiled, rubbing her pregnant belly happily. She has never been so happy before. She was going to make sure that no one takes away her Naruto-kun, and that she was going to make him forget all about going back to Konoha, the place that abused him and never showed him no love and acceptance. She was going to keep him here, making love to her, bear his children, and making his life happy. To be continued. Konoha 3 years later. It had been 3 years since Naruto left the village, 3 years since Jiraiya had been looking for Naruto after the blonde had been kidnapped by the spirit. For 3 years Jiraiya searched everywhere for Naruto all over the elemental nations, and yet still no luck to where the spirit has taken him. He found nothing, no one hasn't seen him. It's like this spirit took Naruto off the face of the elemental nations, disappeared without a trace. Jiraiya was certain Naruto was still in Fire Country since it was a large country and he could not search the entire country looking a kid. With a heavy sigh, Jiraiya looked at the Hokage Tower from the gates that he recently entered. He had to return to the village and faced Tsunade's legendary wrath. Over the past 3 years he had lost all connections with Tsunade as he searched for Naruto. He couldn't lie to her, he thought it was best to avoid speaking to her, even if one of her messages got to him he never replied. He started drinking a whole bottle of sake until it was empty as he put up a straight brave face and tossed away the bottle, going straight for the Hokage Tower to face Tsunade. Hokage office. Tsunade sat behind her desk doing paperwork. She detested doing the paperwork, but it was a duty to complete them, thus she left no choice but to do it. The paperwork was something of an everyday occurrence, she had to do it every day, and each day she would get a headache from seeing big loads of paperwork. It just never ends. Just when you think she was done, Shizune would bring another load of paperwork, much to her dismay. Tsunade sighed and leaned back to her chair. Ever since Naruto left the village she stopped consuming sake. She did so much work without spending her time drinking, sure did miss her sake and would savor it in peace without no one disturbing her. Thinking of Naruto, she did miss seeing him barge in her office, calling her botch and demanding for a mission. She missed every little annoying thing about him. Even the fact he would always run away whenever she wanted to check his physical health. As he hated hospitals, she missed having to have Shizune or Sakura chase him around the village to return him to the hospital. 3 years it has been, 3 whole years without seeing that big smile on Naruto's face. She also hoped that Jiraiya was training him to his best. She wanted him strong enough to protect himself from the Akatsuki and to be at least Jonin level. Jiraiya has not yet give her any progress report on Naruto's training. Something that was odd and unusual. Jiraiya would have been sending her reports and notes of Naruto's training every 2 or 3 months since he left, and it's been 3 years and no report. The window of her office opened as Jiraiya made his entrance. He did not get anywhere near Tsunade, fearing for the extreme ass kicking he was going to receive from her as he stood by the window. I'm home. He started with a large grin on his face, wanting to take a slow pace at what he was going to tell her. About time you showed up, pervert. She spoke with annoyance, staring at him. So why haven't you made any contact with me and why ignore my messages? Tsunade asked with a stern expression, seeing a bead of sweat roll down Jiraiya's face. Well, you see, I have been busy that I did not have the time to respond. Nonetheless, here I am. This beats by responding by letter as you get to see my handsome face. He said with a big smile, hiding his nervous expression. The large tick mark formed on her forehead, but it vanished when she spoke. So how is he? Why isn't he here with you? She asked, watching him closely. Jiraiya of course started sweating as a lump went down his throat as he prepared to tell her the truth and the world of hurt he was going to get. Well you see Haima, how can I say this, he spoke nervously as Tsunade eyed him with a stern glare. Naruto was kidnapped by the Hachishaka-sama, he spoke in a whisper but flinched when he felt a murderous aura form around Tsunade as she narrowed her eyes at him. What did you say? She roared, standing up from her desk as the killer intent radiated and her eyes went bloodshot red like a raging bull. Her voice shook the whole village. When Tsunade made a voice like that, she was definitely beyond pissed. Please calm down and let me explain. He pleaded, positioning his hands up in the air in a defensive manner as he was backed into a wall when he saw her making those giant angry steps, and once she got close to him all hell broke loose. Jiraiya's screams could be echoed throughout Konoha for 2 hours as Tsunade beat him into a bloody pulp and every bone in his body was broken. 3 hours later. After surgery, Jiraiya's whole body was bandaged as he looked like a mummy despite every bone in his body was broken 10 times by Tsunade's monster strength. Explain everything. To me, Jiraiya. Leave one thing out and I'll kill you. She barked at him, staring at the toad sage. We were at Fire Country when we left the village. I dropped him off at a motel. Well I went to go meet my contact spy and I went off to the bathhouses, he said with a sigh as he heard Tsunade make an inhuman growl of that of an angry lioness. You were supposed to be watching him. Not go peep at women. Jiraiya, how could you? How could you let, she said with anger, but Jiraiya cut her off. He was taken away by Hachishaku-sama. When he said that, her furious expression was replaced with fear and panic. Did you say Hachishaku-sama? She spoke with wide eyes, seeing him nod. She remembered her sensei, her great-grandma Mito Uzumaki, tell her stories of the Hachishaku-sama. She couldn't believe it. She always thought of Hachishaku-sama as a scary myth, but that legend was real. Yes, when I returned from the bathhouse I found the door opened and found Naruto's ninja headband in the floor, he said, looking away in shame. What were you doing over these past 3 years? She said with narrowed eyes, still furious with him. I have been searching for him all over the nations and still no sign of him, he replied. How? How could you let this happen? What would happen if the Akatsuki snuck him under your nose? But they didn't snatch him, it was that damn urban legend. She yelled, angry. She was not going to let Jiraiya off the hook for this because it was his responsibility to look after Naruto and to watch him. How is it that Hachishaku-sama took him and what the hell was she doing in Fire Country? She ranted. And what could she want with Naruto and why? Why him of all people? Why did she have to target him like she's done to other children? Could it be the Kyuubi that drawn her attention? She thought long and hard about this, worried for the boy she cared for, as if he was her little brother or son. How exactly did you know that it was Hachishaku-sama that took him? She asked as he began telling her that the daimyo knew and told her that Hachishaku-sama had been kidnapping children all around Fire Country for years. Disturbing, so what now? Asked in a defeated tone, said Tsunade. I'll try to have the toads to find him. Maybe we can use the reverse summoning to bring Naruto back here. I doubt Hachishaku-sama will be smart enough to prevent the reverse. I'll do it once him healed, he said in a confident tone that he will get his godson back. You better, Jiraiya, because if something like this happens again I will see to it that you won't be seeing Naruto again and he will be under my supervision. You got that? She said with a glare as he nodded weakly. She left the hospital room. Please Naruto, be safe. Was her thought. With Naruto. 3 years it has been living in a compound hut with Hachishaku-sama as Naruto grew older, wearing a kimono with Uzumaki whirlpools on it colored red as he was currently chopping some wood. Over the years with Hachishaku-sama he had been training and his ghost wife trained him also. He felt very happy, he loved his tall wife Hachishaku-sama and the 3 beautiful daughters that now have. The first daughter was Tiko Uzumaki. She has long black hair with her father's blue eyes as she wore a trench coat the color of beige and likes to ask her father was she pretty. She also likes to carry scissors. The second daughter was Sadako Uzumaki, black hair with streaks of blonde hair from her father, wearing a white morning dress like her mother. The third daughter was Kayako Uzumaki. She was Sadako's twin sister with pale skin and black eyes, wearing a white gown like her mother. He loved all 3 of his daughters equally, including their mother. Speaking of Hachishaku-sama, she is currently pregnant with twins again and they were both girls inside her womb. 3 years of happiness and peace. Naruto loved his new life. He was beginning to drop his dream of being Hokage and be with Hachishaku-sama and his children for the rest of his life. To be continued. With Naruto. Naruto is eating dinner with his twin daughters Sadako and Kayako Uzumaki while Hachishaku-sama and Tiko were in the next room. So mother, you think father's old village will seek out for him? Said Tiko, who was playing with her scissors. I believe they are. Your father has to stay here with me and be happy here living on this island, Hachishaku-sama said, looking up at the mantelpiece that held an Adachi sword that was sheathed and was a little dusty. That sword belonged to Hachishaku-sama. She named it Shirao. Back in the first or second Shinobi War she used to kill monks. And adults with a sword, and she was highly skilled and fast with it. She had a feeling she might need to use her sword again in case Konoha shinobi or whoever they sent comes for her Naruto-kun. She wasn't going to let no one take him away from her. Right, what of that group of S-rank shinobi, the Akatsuki? Asked Tiko with her mother looking at her with a side-eyed glance. I will leave that to you and your sisters, but if push comes to shove I'll deal with them myself. We need them gone, said Hachishaka-sama in a dark tone as Tiko had an impassive face. And the Leaf Village? Her daughter asked again with Hachishaka-sama sighing. As long as they leave us alone we won't have to kill them, we will give them a warning first, Hachishaka-sama said, rubbing her swollen stomach, feeling her twins kick. What will be the name of my new twin sisters? Tiko asked. I will name one Yuki and the other Aoi. Her mother answered as Tiko grinned her ear-to-ear smile. Sometime later at night. Naruto was in his shared bed that he and Hachishaka-sama have together while their children were in their own bedrooms. Laying on his wife's huge breasts as pillows as she held him in her arms, sleeping peacefully as she smiled warmly seeing him sleep like that, all cuddled up in her giant breasts, petting his head with her big hand before closing her eyes going back to sleep. She was going to make sure that Konoha or the Akatsuki wasn't going to take him away from her. She was going to have the Akatsuki dealt with soon. As for Konoha, she was going to see them personally herself and warn them not to try taking him away from her. Because Naruto belongs to her and only her alone. Mount Myaboku. Jiraiya was sweating up a storm seeing he was surrounded by every toad as he saw Ma and Pop plus Gamabunta, who all looked extremely angry with the toad sage, as he had an idea on why they were looking at him like that and why they used a reverse summon to bring him here. Do you know why you are here, Jiraiya? Asked Pa glaring at the man. Yes, he said with a gulp down his throat. We have been meaning to ask you as to why Minato's son decided to have decline our contract, he no longer wants to summon us. Yelled Gamabunta with Jiraiya widening his eyes. What? What did you say? The toad sage yelled, not wanting to believe he heard right. You heard us. The tadpole doesn't want to summon us anymore. He quit the toad summoning contract and we believe that you are the reason for it. Accused Ma glaring at him. That's not true. I didn't do anything to upset him. Said Jiraiya. He couldn't believe Naruto would cast aside the toad summoning contract. That was something he did not expect to happen. Oh really? Then why did my son happen to hear what Naruto said before he ended the contract? I believe his words were, I quit being a ninja and Hokage, he has found a new interest in his life. Those were his exact words. Gamabunta spoke looking furious. Jiraiya was lost for words. He couldn't believe it. Did Naruto actually said those words? It was that damn urban legend. She's manipulating him. She's twisting his mind, making him quit being a shinobi and gave away his dream of being Hokage. Minato and Kushina would be rolling over their graves if they heard this. Jiraiya started telling them that Hachishaka-sama was the reason Naruto was like this, as all the toads went pale, even they feared her power. Hachishaka-sama has returned, so the rumors were right in the summoning world that she has been set free and has been wandering in the elemental nations praying after children, muttered Pa, who was sweating. Do you know where she is? If so, we can go there and retrieve Naruto from her. Jiraiya said with hope, only to see them shake their heads. It's not that simple, Jiraiya, and we can't go to her location, said Pa, making Jiraiya look at him in shock. Why not? We have to save Naruto from her clutches. Can't you see what she's doing to him? He yelled, hoping that they weren't afraid of her. Because Jiraiya, it wouldn't be wise to provoke Hachishaka-sama or take away someone she likes, and she won't take no for an answer. She's extremely dangerous than a Byakuya. We may be summons, but she is at the higher food chain than us and any other summons creature. Spoke Pa, who looked away. She's not the tall demon lady for nothing. I'm sorry, Jiraiya, but I'm afraid we can't help you in taking Naruto boy from her, spoke Ma, who looked down. What are you saying? He yelled, not believing that they were actually afraid of her. What we're trying to say is that you are on your own to get Naruto back from her. We can't help if she found out we were involved in this. She could send her spirit into the summoning world and hunt us down, killing us all for meddling in her affairs. Only you and Konoha are the ones to retrieve Naruto from her without our help. Please don't take this the wrong way. We would love to help getting him back, but we can't. It would cause bloodshed, spoke Pa, as Jiraiya looked like he had been struck with a Rasengan. Is there any way I can do to kill her? He spoke, seeing them shake their heads. No, she's eternal. She can't be killed. Only way to defeat her is to seal her away in a Jizo seal that would contain her. Goodbye, Jiraiya, said Pa, who sent Jiraiya away back to the Konoha hospital. Konoha hospital. Jiraiya fell back on his bed groaning. He was shocked that the toads were afraid of Hachishaka-sama and wouldn't help finding Naruto, but what shocked him more was that Naruto gave away his dream and ended the contract that he felt so sad about. He just wished that he never left that motel to peep at women and stayed to train Naruto. I must do something to get him back. Tsunade will be heartbroken when she hears this, he thought, now getting up, heading to the Hokage Tower. To be continued. Konoha Hokage Tower. What do you mean the toads won't help us in finding Naruto? yelled Tsunade with a look of disbelief on her face staring at Jiraiya who winced. Tsunade, they are afraid of Hachishaka-sama, it's hard to believe that they fear her as if she's some Bujiman. Jiraiya spoke with a sigh as he explained. How can this be? How could Naruto deliberately end the Toad contact and rather stay with Hachishaka-sama unless she's bewitching him to end the contract and is influencing him? Jiraiya, we need to do this for Minato's and Kushina's sake, we have to save him from her dirty claws. Tsunade said, fully worried for Naruto as Jiraiya nodded. I'll do everything in my power to get him back from Hachishaka-sama. We just need to find a Jizo seal, and I can modify it to seal away Hachishaka-sama for good, and maybe once Naruto is saved, we can have Inoichi erase any memory of Hachishaka-sama from Naruto's mind. Jiraiya said with Tsunade agreeing. Good idea, now we just have to find Naruto, and where could Hachishaka-sama be hiding him? Tsunade pondered with Jiraiya sighing in deep thought as she noticed his expression. What's wrong? She said. Before I came to inform you about the Toads, my spies recently given me information about the other elemental villages, losing just about 77% of their children, said Jiraiya grimly, making Tsunade widen her eyes in horror. So you're saying not only Hachishaka-sama killed children in Fire Country but also went to Kiri, Suna, Iwa and Kumo? This is crazy. Why is she killing innocent children? Did she happen to come to Konoha and take away any children? Tsunade shouted with Jiraiya shrugging. I have no clue unless Sensei knew about it, he might have reports of missing children taken from our village, concluded Jiraiya. I might have to check just to be sure, who knows if she came here and took away some children, said Tsunade with a heavy sigh. What are we going to do, Jiraiya? Has your spy network got any update on Hachishaku-sama's recent whereabouts? Said Tsunade with Jiraiya shaking his head. No, from what I gathered from my informant that Hachishaku-sama has been off and on the radar. There's lots of rumors from all over the elemental nations concerning her. Now if I was a yokai spirit taking away children, where would I be? He said, rubbing his chin. We might need the rookies and their senseis involved in this, Jiraiya said, making her raise a brow. Why? She replied. Because we might need them on this and inform them about Naruto and Hachishaku-sama, he said, seeing her sigh, closing her eyes. Give me time to think about it, right now I have a headache, she said, slumping down in her chair. If that is all, I'll see what I can do and find a Jizo seal, plus have more spies to look for more rumors about Hachishaku-sama, said Jiraiya as he leaped out the window with Tsunade sighing before drinking a bottle of sake to relieve this headache. But the Akatsuki. All members of the Akatsuki were gathered up in their secret hideout. Now that we have been gathered up, we shall capture any Jinchuriki for peace and justice, said Pain with Conan at his side. About time we get this show on the road. I'm just dying to test out my art, said Deidara with his partner Sasori grunt in annoyance. I have news that you all should be aware about, spoke White Zetsu, gaining everyone's attention. Do tell us what you have, Zetsu, spoke Pain. Since we have caught the Yonbi Jinchuriki before 3 years, I have learned that 2 Jinchuriki have gone missing over the past 3 years, White Zetsu spoke with everyone looking confused. Ab just stared. Do you have any idea on which of the 2 Jinchuriki have gone missing? Said Kakazu, looking interested at this information. It seems that the Gobi Jinchuriki has gone missing for 4 years. I went to Iwa and heard that the Jinchuriki Hanya, who held the Gobi, had gone missing and was never seen again, spoke Black Zetsu, with everyone looking quite concerned about this. And the other Jinchuriki that's missing? Spoke Itachi Uchiha this time. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki went missing for 3 years, spoke Black Zetsu, dropping the bomb as everyone widened their eyes at this. Impossible. The little brat went missing, said Kisum. However, we recently have heard rumors of something else that should be brought up to our attention, said White Zetsu. What is it? Spoke Pain emotionlessly. We heard rumors that the Hachishaku-sama is roaming around the elemental nations, spoke Black Zetsu as he shivered, was sweating a little at the thought of Hachishaku-sama, same with White Zetsu, as everyone else looked shocked hearing this information about Hachishaku-sama walking the nations. This Hachishaku-sama. Why should I be worried about her? I am God and God fears nothing, said Pain with Conan looking at him as if he was stupid. Pain-sama, do you have any idea what she is? Spoke Itachi as he had heard stories of Hachishaku-sama from his mother and knew that the urban legend was real. She's someone not to be crossed. He'd not we encounter her, spoke Conan as she had heard folktales about urban legends. Why are you guys being afraid of a old hag? That's a spirit, it's not like she's the fucking Bujiman that frightens everyone. Hell, Lord Jashin isn't afraid of her. Spoke Haiden, making everyone glare at him. Are you stupid? She's more than just being a old hag. She's a fucking yokai. You hear me, a yokai. She's a demon. Kakazu said at his partner. Enough. Said Pain, shutting everyone up. We are to continue our work on finding the Jinchuriki and take away their tailed beast. We have no reason to be afraid of some old legend, she's no threat to us, he said, looking at each member with his Rinnegan as they all frowned. Zetsu, you are to find both the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and Gobi Jinchuriki. Once you found their locations, return to us, understand, spoke Pain, with Zetsu nodding in understanding as he sunk underground, and for some reason the plant man didn't like this. At Konoha night time. Why are we here, mother? Spoke Tiko. Because we are going to give Konoha a message, one towards the Hokage. She will receive this message from me. I have a job for you. You are to go to the orphanage and massacre the staff and murder the children. They must be punished for causing harm to your father, said Hachishaka-sama, with Tiko grinning her ear-to-ear mouth, holding her scissors and butcher knife. I'll give them a ear-to-ear smile, grinned Tiko, who vanished heading to the orphanage. Maybe next time I'll bring Sadako and Kayako, but thought Tiko should do this because she's the oldest and I trust what she does. This village will be punished. I'll show them the agony that Naruto suffered, spoke Hachishaku-sama as she unsheathed her Nadachi sword Shirao. Now where can I write the message, she said, grinning, heading in the village. In the orphanage. Tiko Uzumaki used her intangibility to walk in the orphanage and flirt a little of her Yakai chakra to lock all doors and windows as she clipped her foot-long unnatural scissors. Her father, she spoke, walking into the children's bedroom and start slaughtering them like cattle. But Hachishaku-sama. Hachishaku-sama is at the Hokage Tower as she had recently stolen the Forbidden Scroll and is carrying it as she was heading for someone to kill. And his name was Yamato. Yamato was on his patrol at night wearing his mask. His codename was Tenzo. He was going another direction, but paused. Po 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 po. Po po po. He heard that sound, looking confused as he turned around, and before he could react his eyes widened in fear when he saw a long Nadachi sword swung at him, beheading him. Sorry Tenzo, but I can't afford to have you alive, knowing the Hokage will use you for capturing Naruto with that wood-style jutsu of yours, she spoke with coldness, flicking her sword, getting some blood off. She teleported away, heading for the gate. Village gate. Tiko was there, covered in blood, as she grinned madly seeing her mother come. I trust you did what I told you, right? Hachishaku-sama spoke with her older daughter nodding. Yes, did you deliver the message? Her daughter spoke. Of course, I left her message on her desk. Let's get going, said Hachishaku-sama as both her and her daughter vanished. Konoha morning. The village had gone under lockdown when an explosion erupted at an apartment complex building early this morning around 5 o'clock that killed the staff and everyone who lived in it. Then all Jonin, Chunin and Anbu were up sweeping through the forest around Konoha. An hour later, incident happened. 4 different orphanages had been massacred in a bloody way with grotesque ear-to-ear bloody slit mouths. All staff and children died. Hyuga clan, Inyazuka clan, and Aburam clans were sent to investigate every orphanage. They were looking, smelling, sensing for anything and everything they could find to lead them to the culprit behind this. So far they received nothing. Nothing at all. Some time ago they found a dead Anbu who was codenamed Tenzo, who was beheaded. Tsunade could pale slightly at what she was looking at in the Hokage office. The whole place had been trashed, but that's not what made her pale. Her fists clenched when she saw that the wall where the Forbidden Scroll was once located was destroyed, showing a large hole, and that the scroll itself was gone. So many secrets and jutsus were now stolen. But by who? And who could have caused all of this disaster that she just recently heard from her Anbu? Hokage-sama. I found something, said Yugao. What is it? Demanded Tsunade. It's a message written in blood, said Yugao, making Tsunade move to where the message was. She widened her eyes when she saw the message on a large picture of the Yondaime Hokage, as the handwriting was written in blood. No, just no. It can't be, thought Tsunade, feeling a chill run down her spine reading the whole message. Let me Jiraiya ASAP. Form the meeting with the council at once, shouted Tsunade, with Yugao flinching as she shunshin doing what Tsunade said. Hachishaku-sama, she was actually here, thought Tsunade in fear. To be continued. Konoha Council Chamber. The Hokage Tsunade Senju rounded up everyone to the council to discuss about this morning's disaster. The elders, civilian council and shinobi council was there, plus Jiraiya, also the Jonins, except for the rookies. Hokage-sama, we demand a good explanation on what happened this morning. Who could do such a thing? Massacring 4 orphanages in one night. And stole the Forbidden Scroll and killed 1 Anbu. Spoke Hamura. I'm going to tell you all about who the culprit is who done this, spoke Tsunade, who was flinching after the message she saw. We'd like to know now, spoke Danzo, who was secretly angry that Tenzo was killed and he wanted the man in his rear Anbu. The culprit behind this was none other than Hachishaku-sama, Tsunade said, that made the old and Jonins look pale, having panicked expressions. Same with the elders. Please tell me you're joking, Tsunade. Hachishaku-sama couldn't have done this, spoke Kaharu with an expression of disbelief. No one didn't want to believe the fact that Hachishaku-sama was actually real and was the cause of the disaster. Stop joking about this, Tsunade, no time for urban legends. There's no way she's the cause of this, said Danzo, only to tense when the council doors and windows locked and the lights dimmed down, making everyone tense and shiver. Po 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 po. Po 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 po. As soon as everyone's eyes widened in complete fear, a chill ran down their spines. Po 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 po. Standing on the council table was Hachishaku-sama herself, who so happened to appear out of thin air. P.O. Everyone screamed and threatened to jump out their seats just from seeing her. By good morning Konoha Council and Hokage-sama, spoke Hachishaku-sama with a ear-to-ear smile that meant nothing good. Ac Hachishaku-sama. Squeaked Jiraiya, who was pale white seeing her, but his eyes widened more at the sight of her stomach that looked like she was 7 months pregnant. Tsunade noticed Hachishaku-sama's pregnant stomach too and wondered how in the world can a spirit get pregnant. Someone help us. Help us. Screamed a civilian council member as Hachishaku-sama giggled sweetly. I'm afraid no one can't get in, my Yakai chakra has locked the doors and windows, plus a barrier is formed out the door, meaning no one can not leave without my say-so. Hachishaku-sama said, stroking her Nadachi sword that was sheathed. Now I'm not here to kill you all, just yet. I came here to talk, she spoke with everyone looking tense as her attention turned to Tsunade and Jiraiya. Where is he, Hachishaku-sama? Where is Naruto? Demanded Jiraiya with her frowning at him. Oh Naru-kun. He is quite safe from all of you. She spoke, making Tsunade give her a stern glare. What are you talking about? Why are you keeping him from us? And most importantly, why did you take him? Tsunade demanded, seeing Hachishaku-sama tilt her head at her. You know exactly why, Tsunade-san, given how he is treated here in this village, he no longer wants nothing to do with Konoha, she spoke with a cold glare. Bullshit. You're bewitching him. Konoha is his home. Tsunade yelled with a scowl as Hachishaku-sama looked at her with a scowl as well. Am I? I have no reason to influence him, he stayed with me willingly, as I said before, he no longer wants nothing to do with Konoha, not even his own dream of being Hokage, spoke Hachishaku-sama, making everyone have wide eyes at her words. You're lying. Naruto would never do that. He knows the Leaf Village is his home. He will be Hokage. Said Kakashi, with everyone nodding with the exception of Danzo, Kahara and Homura. He's not coming back to this village, the boy has a now important responsibility now, besides I know full well that he will never achieve his dream, this village will never accept him for who he is, and what he is. You of all people should know the life Jinchurikis had gone through, said Hachishaku-sama, making Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kakashi flinch at her words. You stole our weapon. I demand you give him back. Spoke Danzo as he sweated, seeing Hachishaku-sama's murderous glare that told him to shut up. I'm not giving him back to the likes of you, Danzo-san. Naru-kun stays with me and our family forever. She declared. Give me back my godson, you child-killing bitch. Demanded Jiraiya, seeing Hachishaku-sama turn to him. Now you calling him your godson? After all those years of loneliness he went through? What gives you the right to even call him your godson when you neglected your duties to look after him on your students' behalf? Spoke Hachishaku-sama, making Jiraiya flinch and look away. I had a spine at work to maintain, I thought he would be better in sensei's care, Jiraiya admitted, looking down, hearing her scoff. Excuses all the reason to keep Naru-kun away from you and anyone else, she said, making him scowl. Give me back my student. Said Kakashi, pulling down his mask, revealing his Sharingan glimmering red. Your supposed student? Why should I? When you never trained him to begin with, all you taught him was tree climbing and teamwork, you even brushed him off to Abisu, who had no little love for Naru-kun, well you focused on the Uchiha brat, Hachishaku-sama shot back, making Kakashi flinch at being caught as his Jonin comrades, and Tsunade herself glared at him. Hachishaku-sama, please give Naruto back, he's important to the Leaf. Said Tsunade, hoping to reason with the 8-foot ghost. The answer is no, Tsunade, I know full well why he's important, he is the Yondame's legacy, am I correct? Hachishaku-sama said, making everyone look astonished at what she said. How? Thought everyone. The boy is mine and he will never come to you, I told him his heritage, I told him everything that you all kept from him. He is angry with you and doesn't want nothing to do with you, spoke Hachishaku-sama, making everyone look shocked, losing all hope in reforming bonds with Naruto. Boo, but Naruto has friends. Said Kurenai. Maybe so, but he might not trust them either, she spoke, not really caring. Please Hachishaku-sama. Let us see Naruto. We want to make things right. Pleaded Kakashi. The answer is still no. He is mine. You all don't deserve him, you all don't care for the things he's done, you kept his heritage from him, lying to his face about who his parents are, and denied him his rank of chunin and training, stunting his growth. This village treated him like he was vermin. His so-called godfather never took his responsibilities to look after him. I'm giving him the happiness he deserves. Spoke Hachishaku-sama, with him looking at her in fear when she unsheathed her sword. You will never find me or Naru-kun. If you so much as make an attempt in finding him or trying to bring him back to this village, then I will see to it that this entire village will be stained with everyone's blood. Don't test my wrath. Because I will have no problem in unleashing it now. Goodbye. she said, vanishing, making everything revert to normal as everyone took in what she said. They prayed for worse. The last thing they wanted was a 8-foot ghost going on a rampage. This meeting is dismissed. What was seen or mentioned here in this meeting stays a secret. Failure to comply will be a result in death. Tsunade commanded, with everyone nodding and leaving, except for Jiraiya and the Jonin senseis. The rest of you come to my office, bring the rookies, Tsunade said, seeing them raise a brow. What are you planning? Spoke Jiraiya as he winced from Tsunade's glare, and he knew why she was looking at him like that. You will see soon enough. Let's go, she said, darkly, leaving with everyone following her. To be continued. Alright, listen up all of you, I want all of you to know that Naruto was taken away by the Hachishaku-sama, spoke Tsunade, making everyone look a little shocked. Sensei, who is the Hachishaku-sama? Asked Sakura, looking at her master. Hachishaku-sama is a very tall woman who is over 8 feet tall. Her appearance is that she wears a white morning dress and sun hat. She's rumored to be the scariest yokai and fearsome woman in the elemental nations. She is a urban legend that was here during the Sage of the Six Paths era, explained Tsunade, making everyone take in what she said. And what does she want with Naruto, asked Iruka, who looked worried. I am not sure, I don't know, but I don't want to believe the things she said in the meeting, said Tsunade with a sad look. However, I want all of you to go on a mission to find him, bring him back to Konoha, she said, shocking everyone. But Hokage-sama, what about what she said? Don't you remember her threat, spoke Kakashi, who flinched at Tsunade's angry glare. I know what she said. And I don't care. We're bringing him back. I'm not letting her influence him any longer than she has. She yelled, making everyone flinch. Jiraiya spoke but stopped, seeing her glare. As a matter of fact, you or Kakashi shouldn't go on this mission finding him, she said, shocking the two. Hokage-sama, why? Naruto needs us. Kakashi asked. You two both know why. You both are the cause of this. She said, making them look away. Look, I know this is all my fault and I want to take full responsibility for it. Please let me go out and find him. Jiraiya pleaded. He really wanted to fix his mistakes and he wanted to do this for his late student's sake. She glared at the two and huffed. Fine. You two will go with him and find him, and when you do, bring him back. Kakashi, I'm not putting Naruto back on Team 7 due to your teachings, and Jiraiya, you're not seeing him again or even go near him, is that understood? She said, seeing them protest at what she was saying. I said, is that understood? She yelled much louder, making them flinch and shrink as they nodded. Good, now everyone, Jiraiya will fill you in about Hachishaku-sama. Remember, try to convince Naruto to come back, she spoke. Hokage-sama, what if Naruto refuses? Spoke Iruka, looking nervous. She sighed, looking down. If he refuses, use force if necessary, but don't harm him too much, she said, hoping Naruto didn't have to fight his friends. She was nervous on sending them, hoping Hachishaku-sama doesn't kill them. Understood, Hokage-sama, said Kakashi, with everyone leaving following Jiraiya. Tsunade-sama, are you sure this is the right thing to do? What if they don't make it back knowing Hachishaku-sama will kill them, said Shizune, worried as Tsunade looked down. I'm hoping it doesn't come that way, Tsunade said, getting up from her desk, putting on her Hokage robes and hat. Where are you going? Her student asked. I'm going to have a word with the Fire Lord and ask him for his monk, Chiriku, for assistance to help Jiraiya seal away Hachishaku-sama in the Jizo seal and figure how can a spirit get pregnant. Tsunade said, walking out the door, leaving her student unaware to them that a demon weasel listening to the whole conversation, and it vanished, going to report to its mistress. With Naruto currently watching Sadako Uzumaki run around chasing a butterfly while Kayako was sitting down holding her knees, looking both ways. Hiko was sharpening her scissors and wearing her white surgical procedure mask. Naruto watched his 3 daughters as he looked up in the sky, just wondering about some things regarding his life and how he's living. He has a beautiful 8-foot-tall woman who loves him for who he is and is having a family with him, all the love and affection she had been giving him. He loved Hachishaku-sama and never wants to leave her and his 3 daughters, with 2 more on the way. Then he thought about his heritage. He thought about how his own father, of all people, put a demonic fox in him that had made his life a living hell. He thought about all the years of loneliness he went through and endured all of the murder attempts and attacks he'd be receiving on his birthday. At some point, he really wanted to lash out on the villagers who made his life terrible. What's much worse was that the Sandaime, Kakashi, Jiraiya and Tsunade all knew about his heritage and they never bothered to tell him. All his life he had been alone. All his life he had been unloved and unwanted. All his life he struggled and craved for affection and acknowledgement. All his life he had been mistreated, bullied, given poor treatment at the academy. He was kicked out the orphanage at 6 and was forced to be homeless, looking for food out the garbage. Stores and restaurants would overcharge him with their services to him and the restaurants would poison his food. The only restaurant that didn't treat him like that was Old Man Tuchi Ichiraku and AM. He always earned harsh glares and paid no attention to him, as if he was an unwanted animal or a disease that should not exist. His own father, the late Yondaime Hokage, burdened him with this curse that he did not ask for. As a result he suffered a harsh lonely life being the village's pariah. Hiruzen his Jaisen, Kakashi, Tsunade and Jiraiya all knew about his parents and his rightful heritage. The moment Hachishaku-sama told him this he was losing respect for them and no longer wanted nothing to do with them, he no longer trusted them. Kakashi Haddock was his late father's only surviving student who didn't teach him anything but tree climbing and teamwork, yet his own sensei been showing favoritism towards Sasuke and brushed him off to Ibisu who had no love for him and his sensei even berated him about his shinobi skills. Hiruzen and Tsunade lied to him and dismissed him when he came asking about his parents. Then there was Jiraiya, his own godfather. The man who taught his father, the man who was never there for him for 13 years, the man who neglected him and forsaken him just to chase after Orochimaru for 13 years. The man never wrote him or inquired his well-being not once. While he keeps himself occupied with women peeking at them in the bathhouses and other matters for 13 years. 13 fucking years. The man named Jiraiya was never there to teach him, to raise him and protect him for 13 years. Naruto truly hated Jiraiya and could never forgive him if given the chance. He wasn't so sure about his own friends. Sure, there was Shikamaru, Choji and Hinata who never saw him that way or always stayed by his side when every other parent had told their children to stay away from him, yet Shikamaru and Choji didn't. He saved Hinata from those bullies and she got taken away by her bodyguard who wasn't even there to watch her while the bullies harassed her. He wasn't sure about his friends, he didn't even know if he could call the others his friends. The only friends he could trust is Shikamaru and Choji with Hinata. So much had been going on in his mind after learning of his heritage and family. He wanted to vent out his emotions on how angry he was but decided to keep it at bay and just be happy with his own family. He wanted to just not think of anything else but his family, Hachishaku-sama his wife, Sadako, Tiko and Kayako his 3 daughters and 2 more on the way. Father look. I caught the butterfly. Called out Sadako who broke Naruto's thoughts as he turned to her. Oh, that's great Sadako-chan. He said petting her head as she giggled while holding the butterfly. Hiko was watching from the sidelines as she walked back in the house, knowing her mother was in the kitchen cooking. Hachishaku-sama was stirring up her soup while making the fire go high wearing an apron while patting her 7-month pregnant stomach, 2 more months, and her twins were going to be born. As she showed a gentle smile, she turned around noticing her oldest daughter Tiko was in the kitchen. Yes. Tiko-chan. Hachishaku-sama spoke in her gentle voice that was so angelic as if she was a gentle mother. I received a report from the demon weasels. It seems the Hokage has sent all of the Konoha rookies and their senseis to search for father and you the Hokage is also in search of a priest in fire country and looking for a Jizo seal to seal you away spoke Tiko, waiting for her mother's reaction. Hachishaku-sama froze as the temperature in the room went cold. It seems Konoha never learns and they defy my wraith, get the forbidden scroll from the basement, said Hachishaku-sama in a cold tone. Are we going to tell father about this? Spoke Tiko seeing her mother shake her head. No, it's best to not upset him, he must not know, follow me she said before leaving a shadow clone to cook while her and Tiko left. But Hachishaku-sama. Impure resurrection. Ito Tensei. Hachishaku-sama said using 3 children as sacrifices. Summoned up 3 coffins as the lids opened. One coffin revealed Zabuza Mamachi as Tiko sticked his sword in the ground. The second coffin revealed Kamimuro Kagaya. The third coffin revealed Haku Mamachi as Tiko placed a new Kiri mask by Haku's coffin. Hachishaku-sama also used the Ito Tensei again to summon up 50 coffins, revealing them to be Uzumaki samurais. You 3 will be my pawns, my puppets, you 3 will be my Yakai generals. I have a mission for you 3, hunt down the Konoha shinobi who are after my Narukan, kill them all, alongside you will be a small army of Uzumaki samurais to assist you. Zabuza Mamachi you are in charge and will take lead, before you 3 I will give you each a special Yakai gift. She said raising her hand channeling her Yakai chakra into Zabuza, Haku and Kamimuro. Zabuza since you claim to be the demon of the mist, you have the strength and power of a real Oni demon. She said seeing him glow with killer intent and with a deathly aura. Haku you have been gifted the powers of Yuki-onna. You are a snow woman. Hachishaku-sama declared seeing Haku grow out giant ice claws as the area around her starts to freeze. And lastly you Kamimuro Kagaya, since you have a special bloodline that involves bones I have given you the power to be Gashadakuro the 90-foot skeleton. Your bones are unbreakable and indestructible. Hachishaku-sama said. You 3 are on the clock now, go do as I told. Show no mercy. She said seeing the 3 nod obediently and vanished off with their samurais behind them. While they deal with the retrieval squad we must do something about that priest who serves under the fire daimyo Hachishaku-sama said, seeing her daughter look at her. Allow me to do it mother I'll kill him and any other monk that serves the Fire Lord said Tiko grinning her ear-to-ear smile under her surgical mask. Very well, I'll let you do it, go make mommy proud, remember we must do this for your father's sake, we can't let Konoha have him back, just for pulling this stunt, they just signed their own deed warrant, Hachishaku-sama spoke seeing her daughter nod and walk away, but stopped looking back at her mother. And what about you mother? Tiko asked. I'm heading to Kumo and capture a cat that will be our house pet and guardian and servant of our new family, Yujito Nai. Since I possess the body of Hanyu the Gobi Jinchuriki, I have control over her body, I hid her soul, and the gobi-tailed beast in a pillar, having full control of her perfect body, Hachishaku-sama said, vanishing on her way to Kumo. The bee continued. Some time ago in Kumo, there laid Yujito Nai who was severely injured from fighting both Haiden and Kakuzu who were capturing her so that her tailed beast could be ripped out, the two marched over to her, but suddenly they paused hearing a sound. Po 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 po. As soon as they heard that sound a shiver went down both of their spines and cocked their heads behind their shoulders, widening their eyes in shock that it was Hachishaku-sama. Behind them with an Adachi sword in hand. Yujito was barely conscious and stayed awake long enough to know who this woman was and why did she look pregnant while the Nibi in her mindscape shivered in fear. Holy shit. It's the old 8-foot bitch that Zetsu told us about. Haiden spoke seeing her have a cold expression. The temperature went cold when Haiden called her old. Sure, she can change her appearance of an old elderly woman or beautiful young woman, but she did not like being called old. Shit. Zetsu was right. She is real. Said Kakuzu looking at her in fear. I believe you two have someone that belongs to me spoke Hachishaku-sama in a cold tone. You want the Nibi Jinchuriki? What for? Demanded Haiden. That is none of your concern, give her to me and maybe I'll let the both of you live she said with malice looking at them with ice-cold eyes that would have froze the ocean. I'm afraid we can't do that, she's ours and Pain-sama would not be pleased if we returned with nothing said Kakuzu seeing her unsheath her Nadachi sword Shirao as the blade shined in sunlight. But I was hoping you'd say that, I'll spare you his wraith by killing the both of you and see him personally. Hachishaku-sama said deathly as if she was the Shinigami and lunged forward at the two and nailed Kakuzu's chest, stabbing his heart in the process before pulling out and raised her sword up in the air, going to cut the money-hungry Akatsuki member in two while Haiden jumped forward with his scythe. Take this you big bitch. Haiden cursed but widened his eyes when he saw her hair move in tendrils and swore her hair was barbed hooks as they latched onto Haiden and tossed him away as she focused on Kakuzu who was in pain after losing his heart. He looked up and feared worst when he saw her raise that sword, seeing she was going to chop him in half. Shirao Hachishaku-sama spoke in a deadly voice that had never been heard of before as she slowly put the sword against Kakuzu's head, seeing the blade go right through him. His eyes widened. Aya. He screamed in pain and agony. Kakuzu. Said Haiden reaching for his scythe getting up to save his partner. Slow ballad she spoke in a tone of hollow and emotionlessly death and was cutting him down vertically slowly in a gory way as blood squelched everywhere. Yujito looked on in shock and horror at what she was seeing. You bitch. You will pay. Jashin-sama will claim your life. Haiden spoke but saw her hair shift and turned into barbed hooks as they latched onto him. Hachishaku-sama stared at him with an impassive cruel expression. Is this the best you got? It seems your so-called Jashin-sama has forsaken you, now die. Spoke Hachishaku-sama as her hair hooks mercilessly and brutally ripped Haiden apart piece by piece, tearing apart all of his flesh and internal organs as she vertically and horizontally cut his head into tiny little hundreds of pieces killing him. Yujito felt sick to her stomach from watching the brutality this woman has done as she looked up in horror, seeing Hachishaku-sama tower over her injured body. What are you? Spoke Yujito terrified seeing this woman was not a woman and could tell she was something else. I am your savior and new master answered Hachishaku-sama who was covered in blood from ripping apart Haiden and picked Yujito up before putting the woman to sleep as Hachishaku-sama turned towards the shadows and narrowed her eyes seeing Zetsu who had witnessed the whole thing. He even looked horrified and was too scared to move. Why don't you take off and tell your Pain-sama that if he wishes to cross my path again and try to hunt after my Narukun, there will be hell to pay, she said deathly with her deadly glare, with a huge amount of killing intent towards Zetsu, who nodded dumbly, fearing for his life he sunk in the ground, not wanting to stay around and piss her off to go report to his leader. Hachishaku-sama vanished carrying Yujito with her. But Tiko Uzumaki was in Fire Country sneaking into the daimyo's palace holding her foot-long scissors. She used her intangibility to walk through walls and was going for the daimyo's office as she opened up her beige trench coat and pulled out lots of high chakra-powered explosive seals and was setting them all in the daimyo's office should he walk in here and place some in his bedroom just in case. She left now heading to kill Chiriku and every monk and priest that were loyal under the daimyo, she had to finish this before the Hokage gets here. She grinned her ear-to-ear slit mouth under her surgical mask as she disguised herself as a maiden and still walked forward to find her prey. The bee continued. Kumo. What? "What do you mean Yujito is missing?" bellowed Reikage, who looked at his Anbu captain. "It's just as we reported, Reikage-sama. We tracked Yujito's location and found her Kumo headband. We also found a dead Akatsuki member. We believe it's Kakuzu from Taki. We sealed his cut in half body in a scroll," spoke the Anbu captain, seeing the Reikage gruff. "HMPH. I want Yujito found. Search everywhere for her in the lightning border. She couldn't have gone that far," he commanded, seeing them nod as they left to do what he commanded. Beside trying to not break his desk in two, first he received that 88 children have gone missing over the past 6 years, and a month ago 12 more went missing. Now Yujito Nai, his Jinchuriki, went missing and got in a fight with the Akatsuki. He prayed nothing bad happened. His brother B is still in the village, safe and sound. The Reikage didn't believe in urban legends, and he felt a little afraid. His old man, who was the Sandame Reikage, once told him about the urban legend named Hachishaku-sama. She was known to be the scariest yokai and woman in the elemental nations, and she was infamous for killing children. He just hoped that she wasn't real and prayed that she wasn't responsible for the child kidnappings in Kumo. He pressed his intercom. "Mabui," he spoke. "Yes, Reikage-sama," spoke Mabui, his assistant. "Send Dari here to my office. I have an assignment for him," he said, seeing her reply, "Yes, Reikage-sama." An hour later. "You've called, Reikage-sama?" Dari replied. "Yes, I want you to send some spies out to Kiri, Iwa, Suna and Konoha. I want to know if any of their village children went missing," he said, giving the man a folder for information regarding this S-ranked mission. "On it, Reikage-sama," he said, walking out. "If this keeps up about Hachishaku-sama, I demand a cage summit about the situation, cause if the Akatsuki ain't the problem then she could be," were his thoughts. "Aim? You can't be serious. Kakuzu and Haiden were killed at this Hachishaku-sama's hands," spoke Pain, narrowing his Rinnegan at Zetsu, who nodded. "Yes, and she took the Nibi Jinchuriki with her." White Zetsu spoke. "What could she want with the Nibi?" spoke Konan, who looked shocked at how both Kakuzu and Haiden were killed so easily. "We don't know, but she warned you that if you cross her path, she will bring hell upon us. Your wraith will know no bounds," said Black Zetsu, seeing Pain scowl and Konan have a look of worry on her face. "Zetsu, I want you to inform the rest of the members, pull them out of their current mission, and I want them reported back here," spoke Pain with no emotion, seeing the plant man nod, vanishing. "What are we going to do? Nagato crossing her path is too dangerous. It will lead to our death," spoke Konan. "We will obtain peace and justice once everyone returns. We will continue our goal in capturing the Jinchuriki and remove their biju sealed within them. The only biju we have so far is the Yonbi. We need the Sanbi. The rest, right now the Kyuubi, Gobi and Nibi are missing. I have a hunch that Hachishaku-sama is responsible for their disappearance and is hiding them. We must get them one way or the other." Pain spoke, looking impassive, while Konan looked away. She didn't like this idea. She did not want to cross paths against a urban legend that can bring upon great vengeance and furious anger. If they ever face Hachishaku-sama, Konan would have no choice but to leave the Akatsuki for the safety of her life. If only she could talk Nagato out of this. Fire Daimyo's castle. The Fire Daimyo was waiting for Tsune to come to his palace. "She will arrive in 30 minutes, sighing softly as he walked to his office, fanning himself with his fan, opening the door to get a few documents to tell Tsune about the child missing reports. Holding the stack of papers in his hands, he turned around only to widen his eyes, seeing a few explosive tags appear out of a jinjutsu in his office, and they glowed and sparked as his life flashed before his eyes. Ooh. The entire daimyo's office exploded with him in it. Many maidens and samurai screamed, calling out to their daimyo. "The daimyo been killed. Code red. I repeat, code red," said the daimyo's aide. "Code red. Lock down the whole capital. Search for the killer who did this," yelled a samurai commander. Down in the Holy Monk Academy and dojo. Hiko, who saw the explosion, grinned as she still kept her disguise as a maiden. She walked inside and began her massacre on the priests and monks. "Hey. Stop her. She's a killer," screamed a monk who got stabbed in the neck by Tiko's scissors. "Stop the woman," yelled a priestess who felt her kidneys impaled by 2 scissors as she fell limp on the ground dead. Tiko flared her Yakai chakra, locking the whole academy up. "I sense demonic chakra in this woman. She's a demon," said a monk holding his traditional sword, rushing forward at her, only to get his torso cut in half by Tiko's sickle she summoned. Tiko dispelled the jinjutsu on her appearance, revealing she looked 16 years old, wearing a beige trench coat and surgical procedure mask. She turned her gaze on a terrified priestess who looked at her in fear as Tiko walked forward to her, clipping her scissors. "Please don't kill me. Spare me. I have a husband and children. Please," the priestess pleaded, backing into a wall, seeing Tiko in front on her. "Spare you? I have a question for you and I want you to be very honest, if so I will let you go," spoke Tiko in her demonic hollowed voice. "What is it?" said the priestess, who looked frightened. "Am I pretty?" Tiko spoke, removing her surgical mask, revealing her face that looked completely normal. The priestess nodded. "Even like this?" Tiko asked as she spoke, Kai revealing her mouth had a genjutsu around it, showing she had a ear-to-ear slit mouth filled with demonic fangs and a long grostic tongue. The priestess could only look in horror and shock, hiding her disgust from looking at Tiko's mouth. She flinched as she nodded fearfully. Tiko obviously could tell that was a lie, but let it slide. Hold still, she grabbed the priestess's mouth, forcing it open. What are you doing? She spoke with fear. I'm making you resemble like me. You will be given a nice ear-to-ear smile. She spoke sadistically as the woman screamed in agony, feeling the scissors slit her mouth open real wide. The priestess screamed, feeling more blood pour out of her ear-to-ear slit mouth as she looked at Tiko Uzumaki, who was grinning her own ear-to-ear smile. I wonder, will your husband think you're pretty now? Spoke Tiko, leaving the broken woman alone, who laid there crying her eyes out, and how she was given a slit mouth. Tiko continued her bloody massacre, butchering many priests, priestesses and monks as each tries to confront her, but all they received from her was death. She even went far to kill any young students who lived in the dojo and academy. The academy and dojo was set to blazes on fire. Jericho and 10 samurai barged into the dojo. Jericho hoped he wasn't too late to save any of his friends and students at the dojo. He recently just returned from his mission. He just now heard that the Fire Lord Daimyo had been assassinated in a deathly explosion in his office. He rushed in, looking in complete horror at the massacre in the dojo. He told any samurai to search for survivors. They did as told. He just couldn't believe it. Who could have done this? Who would kill all of these young students? Even the elderly monks and priestesses didn't survive. He kept walking, but stopped when he heard a woman cry. He opened the door, seeing a weeping priestess. Are you okay? He asked, walking slowly to her. Please help me, it hurts, the weeping priestess sobbed, hiding her face. Don't worry, I'm coming to get you out of here, he spoke, coming to her side, unaware of her deathly smile. Once he walked forward, grabbing her hand, she poofed in smoke, catching him off guard. It was until he realized that this was a trap. He turned around only to feel a sharp pain slit his throat as he clutched, falling on his knees, looking up at his killer. He saw Tiko. Tiko grinned as she shoved her scissors all the way down his throat. Widening his eyes, he choked on blood, his own blood, as she pulled her scissors out of his throat, watching him drop dead. The oldest trick in the book, she spoke, vanishing since she was now finished with her job and mission. Elsewhere in Fire Country. Tsunade could only look in horror. She just arrived here, hearing how Fire Country was now on lockdown. After the assassination of the Fire Daimyo, she felt a very large headache come to her. She wondered who could have done this. She needed to head to the palace and find out what happened. But Jiraiya and company. Jiraiya, the Jonins and their squads with Anko and Iruka were on their own mission to look for Naruto. They were trying to track him, but they wished they knew where, though it seemed like Hachishaka-sama didn't want Naruto found, and she was doing a good job of doing that. Though Jiraiya was worried about Naruto, worried that the blonde brat would hate him, yet Naruto had every right to be angry at him for lying to him and not being there for him when he needed him the most. Jiraiya could only pray that Naruto would find it in his heart to forgive him and wants to make amends for his mistakes. He prayed he wasn't too late. He replayed Hachishaka-sama's words in his memory. Now you calling him your godson? After all those years of loneliness he went through? What gives you the right to even call him your godson when you neglected your duties to look after him on your students' behalf, spoke Hachishaka-sama in the memory. Jiraiya could only grit his teeth and close his eyes, clenching his fists, hating to admit she was right. If he died, he knew he would have to face Minato and Kushina for not taking care of their son like he was supposed to. Please Naruto, I hope you can someday forgive me for not being there for you. Once you're free from Hachishaka-sama's clutches, I want to make amends with you, was the Toad Sanin's thoughts. Though Jiraiya wasn't the only one worried about Naruto, Kakashi, Hinata, Shikamaru, Choji, Iruka and anyone else who were friends to Naruto were all worried. Seeing it was night, the group formed a campsite as Jiraiya sat there thinking about Naruto, as he also thought about Hachishaka-sama and why she was pregnant. The Toad Sage didn't want to even think perverted thoughts if his godson and Hachishaka-sama doing sexual relations. He looked away as he summoned Pa and Ma. Jiraiya boy, didn't we tell you that we don't want no part in helping you get Naruto boy from Hachishaka-sama's hands, spoke Pa angrily, with Ma scowling at him. Look, I need your help with something. It involves Hachishaka-sama. She's pregnant, I saw it with my own eyes. He said to the two elderly toads as their eyes widened like saucers. She's pregnant, replied Ma in shock, with Pa sweating in fear. Please, I need your guidance on this information. How can a yakai get pregnant? Jiraiya asked, seeing Pa frown, holding his cane. Well, here's what we know so far. It seems Hachishaka-sama has a sexual interest. For some reason she felt the need for sexual urges. She's done something like this to a young boy who went by Akun unfortunately many eons ago. In the Sage of the Six Paths era, Hachishaka-sama once existed as a human before and lived in a sacred village, training young boys to become men by having sex with them, was Pa's explanation as Jiraiya blushed, keeping his serious expression. And because of this many have forgotten about her and she disappeared and she was never seen again, Pa spoke, seeing Jiraiya frown a little. But how does this explain her pregnancy? Jiraiya asked. We're getting to that part, said Ma, frowning. Once she finds a boy she likes and is very affectionate to the said boy of her choice, she wants to mate with him. She needed a mate to breed more of what she is. A yokai, finished Pa, seeing Jiraiya look in shock as he put two and two together as he spoke. Well, wait a minute, are you saying what I think you're saying? Jiraiya said out loud, seeing the two toads look at each other then back to him. I think for that very reason Hachishaka-sama has become very interested in Naruto boy and she will not let anyone take him away from her. She has formed a bond with Naruto and are no doubt mating or breeding. I also believe the Kyuubi's chakra might have something to do with this because the demon fox is made of yokai chakra and that could be another thing. If her and Naruto boy made sexual intercourse, imagine what their child could be like, spoke Pa, seeing Jiraiya look amazed at this information. The child mixed with yokai chakra Namikaze and Uzumaki genes, Jiraiya said, looking shocked at this information. So we're talking about a human yokai hybrid, he thought. Please Jiraiya boy, leave Naruto alone. If you take him away from Hachishaka-sama, all you and Konoha will do is enrage Hachishaka-sama, Ma said, seeing him look away, sighing. I can't do that, I have to save him from her. I have to make things right for Naruto, Jiraiya said, standing up, seeing the toads shake their heads. It's too late for that, Naruto will probably never forgive you. You had 13 years to be by Minato's tadpole, but for what? Just to chase after Orochimaru and go peep at women. What makes you think Naruto will forgive you or anyone else who wronged him? Perhaps Naruto would be better off with Hachishaku-sama than you and Konoha, were Pa's last words as he and his wife poofed in smoke, leaving the toad sage to rethink what they just said. To be continued. Naruto was slurping up his ramen Hachishaku-sama made for him, sitting at the dinner table alone, knowing his daughters are probably asleep and Hachishaku-sama is doing laundry. But Hachishaku-sama stood over her three daughters, watching them with a calm expression as she eyed them slowly before speaking. I'm sure you three are aware of the situation regarding your father, right? She spoke, seeing Tiko, Sadako and Kayako nod. But because it seems that the Hokage is tempting to take your father away from us, something we cannot let happen, their mother said as the three looked at one another. What's the plan, mother? Spoke Tiko. We keep the Akatsuki at bay, but at some point one of you or myself will kill them, Hachishaku-sama replied. What of Konoha? Asked Sadako in her not-so-cheery tone. I do not know what to do with them, yet I hopefully pray that our yokai generals take good care of that little retrieval team the Hokage sent to bring back your father to that cesspool of a village. Hachishaku-sama spoke with malice. How long do we have to keep father in the dark about this, mother? He doesn't know the things you've done yet, spoke Kayako for the first time in her emotionless voice, seeing her mother wince at this. Her mother sighed. I'm not happy with keeping things from your father, but it must be done. We don't want him to worry about Konoha looking for him and bring him back to a village that hates him, which is why in keeping this from him, on his 16th birthday I had to tell your father his heritage that everyone kept from him, and I could tell on the look on his face, he seemed betrayed and very angry. She said solemnly, in truth she didn't like this, but felt it needed to be done for the sake of his life. Please understand why I'm doing this secretly, in the shadows. We can't let his supposed godparents, so-called friends, and sensei deny your father any more happiness by letting him stay in a village that hates him. Do any of you want that? Hachishaku-sama said, looking at all three of her daughters as they looked at one another before turning their attention to their mother. No, they all said in unison. For the sake of your father we must do this for his well-being. I love him too much and I want to protect him from those who weren't there for him in his life growing up. She spoke softly. Mother is right, sisters, we have to do this for father, it has to be done, said Tiko, since she was the older sister and more like second in command, while her mother is the real leader. And what if father finds out about this plot, said Sadako, looking up at her mother then to her sisters. Hopefully we'll cross that bridge to explain why this had to be done. I just hope your father will come to understand why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I love him and would do anything to protect him, something Konoha failed to do. Said Hachishaku-sama with a grim look, looking sadly. 3 hours later in the afternoon. Naruto sat in his and Hachishaku-sama's bedroom as the 16-year-old blonde turned around, seeing his pregnant wife come in the room, looking at him with her hands on her swollen 7-month pregnant belly. Oh hey Hachi-chan, he said, seeing her smiling at him as she approached to her lover, patting his head with her big hand. Hi, Naruto-kun, she spoke, seeing him smile. What's the matter? He asked. Nothing, just came to check on you, she replied back, looking at him. So how's Yuki and Aoi? Naruto asked, staring at her pregnant belly, knowing his twin daughters are inside her. They're both fine, 2 more months, and they will be born, Hachishaku-sama said, patting her belly softly, seeing Naruto smile. Well, that's good to hear, he said in a happy tone, looking forward to see his twins born on the same day in 2 months. Hachishaku-sama smiled, seeing Naruto come up close to her. Shall we nap together, Naruto-kun? Hachishaku-sama said, getting up from her shared bed, undressing H. Taking off her hat and white sundress, bending over to pick up her white dress for Naruto to stare at her amazing big ass, he admired as a tent formed in his hakama pants. Looking down, he blushed noticing his erection grew at the sight of her ass. She turned around smiling seeing him trying to look innocent. Naruto undressed himself and just became naked just like his wife. Licking her lips from seeing his hard cock as they laid in bed together smiling at each other. Pulling Naruto close he was up against her giant breasts that were full of milk. He looked up at her seeing her motherly gentle expression that he adored and loved. But Jiraiya and company. Jiraiya, the Jonins, Haruka, Anko and the rookies all were sitting in a circle around the fire as they were now eating breakfast. Jiraiya-san, could you tell us about this Hachishaku-sama? What is she like? We never heard of her in the Konoha history books or lessons, said Shino, who looked a little interested, as did Shikamaru and the others, as everyone had their attention on the Toad Sage, who sighed seeing he was supposed to fill them in about who and what they were dealing with. There's a reason why she was never mentioned in the Konoha history or the lessons, but nonetheless I will tell all of you about Hachishaku-sama, since I happened to look up research about her. The Toad Sage spoke, gaining everyone's attention and listening to his tale about her. To be continued. In the campsite everyone was sitting in a circle around the fire while eating their breakfast, watching Jiraiya waiting for him to tell the tale of Hachishaku-sama. Listen and pay attention, since all of you don't know about Hachishaku-sama, I'm going to tell you all about her. Jiraiya spoke. Many years ago in the Sage of the Six Paths lived a urban legend named Hachishaku-sama. Hachishaku-sama was not a person, she was some sort of monster, well a yokai at some point. She was a human, explained Jiraiya, seeing everyone still looking at him listening, waiting for him to go on with the story. Human? She was human. Said Tenten. She was human years ago in the Six Path era. She was known to live in a sacred village and teach young boys on how to be men. Some time ago she was forgotten, and since the village no longer worshipped her, she disappeared and was never seen again. Her death was unknown, no one never heard or seen her again. Jiraiya continued. So is this Hachishaku-sama scary? Asked Choji, who was eating his chips listening to the interesting story. She's scary, alright, much scarier than the nine-tailed beasts combined. Even the Shadame and Uchiha Madara fear her, spoke Jiraiya, with everyone gasping at this. She's really a monster, spoke Ino, who was shivering as everyone else sweated at the thought of facing her. Hachishaku-sama changes her appearance of that of a beautiful young woman, or sometimes old, but she would always be abnormally tall, and would always have a creepy chant. It goes po 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 po. Once Hachishaku-sama took an interest in a person, they were hunted to death in just a few days. And the last known victim of Hachishaku-sama had been 15 years previous. Jiraiya said, with everyone paying attention at what he was saying. Shikamaru thought. Something on your mind, Shikamaru? Spoke Jiraiya, noticing the Nara air, thinking. Well, this is sort of troublesome, but here's something I want to know. If she has such an interest in Naruto, does that mean she wants to kill him? He pondered, with everyone tensing at that. No, I don't think she wants to kill him, she has him hidden somewhere, and she's doing a good job at hiding him and cleaning up her tracks, so we couldn't find her or him, answered Jiraiya with a sigh. Not even his spy network could detect her. How do we kill this Hachishaku-sama? Said Kiba, with everyone wanting to know how to necessarily kill the urban legend. She can be killed, replied Jiraiya, with everyone widening their eyes in shock, as if Jiraiya grew a second head at what he said. She can't be killed. Then how do we defeat her? Said Haruka, who was worried. Hachishaku-sama is eternal. From what the toads told me, is that Hachishaku-sama is immortal. The only way to defeat her is to seal her away inside a Jizo seal, explained Jiraiya, with everyone now nodding and understanding. So listen up, all we need to do is find Naruto and get him away from Hachishaku-sama as quickly as we can before she gets to attacking us all. Once we have Naruto, we head back to Konoha, hide him and alter his memories of Hachishaku-sama, but we must keep him hidden until I seal away Hachishaku-sama, said Jiraiya, putting out his plan as everyone listened, hoping this plan works. Was Hachishaku-sama sealed away before? Asked Sakura. Hachishaku-sama was supposed to be trapped in a shrine near a sacred village, having been sealed in by 4 statues of Jizo, a protective deity of children, each placed to the north, south, east, and west of the structure. The village had some sort of agreement with its neighboring villages, wherein they were given some advantages to make up for the fact they had to watch over the monster. However, 4 great monks had tried to seal away Hachishaku-sama, but their fates were unfortunate. Hachishaku-sama challenged all 4 of those monks. The first monk she encountered was the West monk, then second she encountered the North monk. Those 2 weren't so lucky, she killed both of them. The South monk almost stood a chance, but his luck ran out, said Jiraiya, with everyone looking in awe at the tale he was telling. What happened to the East monk? Asked Niji, wondering if the Eastern monk was fated to be killed at Hachishaku-sama's hands. The East monk stood his ground facing Hachishaku-sama. He was badly injured from fighting her. Just when he was about to die, an elder monk had arrived to save his last student as they both fought Hachishaku-sama together and finally defeated her by sealing Hachishaku-sama inside a Jizo seal. Jiraiya spoke with everyone sighing in relief. But that's not the end of it. Before she was sealed away, she killed the elder monk, taking his life, he said sadly, with everyone looking horrified. After she was sealed away, the Eastern monk didn't know what to do with her while she was contained in the Jizo statue, so with little courage, he went to a shrine temple in Fire Country, entrusting higher experienced monks and priests to look after it. After he did that, he vanished and was never seen again, spoke Jiraiya, finishing the tale. Creepy. I'm a little nervous to meet Hachishaku-sama, spoke Ino, with Tenten and Sakura agreeing while Hinata stayed quiet. Hinata had been quiet the whole mission. She was greatly worried about Naruto and hoping this Hachishaku-sama haven't done anything to him. She prayed that she would safely return him to Konoha. Why is it so cold around here? Spoke Choji, who was shivering when he noticed a few snowflakes start falling. This made everyone confused. How was it snowing? Before anyone could ask, they heard a whistling sound of a projectile coming towards them. Hit the deck, yelled Jiraiya, with everyone obeying the command as the projectile hit a tree, cutting it in half as it retracted back like a boomerang. The projectile in question. It was a giant sword, a familiar sword. Kakashi could only look in shock. He recognized that sword as a chill went down his spine hearing a all too familiar voice. Well, not bad. I was hoping I would claim you leave shinobi's lives. How's it hanging, Kakashi? We have a score to settle, stated a gruff voice as Sakura and Kakashi paled as they remembered whose voice this was. No, it can't be. He should be dead, thought Kakashi, with Sakura thinking the same thing. Jumping out the bushes revealed Zabuza Mamachi, shocking everyone as they stared at his appearance. Zabuza no longer looked human. He looked like a red Oni demon with sharp black horns. Behind him came two other figures. Haku, wearing her new Kiri mask, her skin was pale white as snow. She was wearing a white yukata with snowflakes on it. Her hair grew longer and it was colored white behind her mask. Her eyes were yellow. Himimaro Kagaya had a more skeletal appearance. The left half of his face showed his skull and his right hand and arm had a more skeletal appearance. Lee looked shocked from seeing Kimimaro again. Kakashi and Sakura looked even more shocked at seeing Haku alive as well. What's the matter, Kakashi? You look like you've seen a ghost, smirked Zabuza, hefting up his sword. How are you two alive? Yelled Sakura, who looked in disbelief. You can thank our mistress, Hachishaku-sama, for that. She has revived us to be her Yakai general, said Kimimaro in a bone-chilling voice. Damn it. She used the forbidden scroll and learned the reanimation jutsu, thought Kakashi, horrified at this information. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Kakashi is mine along with the Toad Sage Haku. The other Jonins are yours. Kagaya kid, those brats all yours. Let's give them hell and show them why we serve Hachishaku-sama now, commanded Zabuza, with his comrades smirking and nodding. Damn it all. She must have somehow knew. But how? I'm not sure. What can we do? Thought Jiraiya. We have to try and fight them, said Asuma, with the other Jonins agreeing. Yes. So we can get Naruto-kun from that unyouthful spirit, said Lee, with Zabuza chuckling. At chance of that happening, kid, we can't let you pass. Our orders from Hachishaku-sama are absolute. Now do us a favor and die, exclaimed Zabuza, who made a few hand signs preforming the hidden mist jutsu with Haku, making a snow blizzard around everyone as Kimimaro stood there drawing out his bone blade. Naruto stood there listening. He wasn't angry, though he was silent, with his expression shadowed. I understand if you're angry at me, but don't take it out on Tiko. I brought her into this, she pleaded. Hachi, I'm not angry at you and never will be. I understood your reasoning, he spoke, seeing her eyes widened in disbelief. She expected him to be very angry. Why, you mean it? She said, seeing him nod. All this time you've been trying to protect me, and I feel grateful for that, though I don't approve of you killing off children. But after hearing your reasoning, I think it should be my turn to protect you and our children. I won't let them seal you away, and I won't go back to Konoha. My desire is to stay with you and our loving family forever, he said, seeing her smile as she pulled him into a big hug. I promise nothing will never break us apart, he said, hugging her back. It's my turn now to protect you. I won't let them lay a finger on you or our daughters, he said in conviction. He swore he would do anything to protect his family. He wasn't going to let Konoha strip away the one happiness he has now when they treated him like scum. Hachishaku-sama never felt any more happier. He was willing to protect her this time and their daughters, and for once she was going to let him do it. Because this was his family and he wasn't going to let Konoha stop him from having the one thing he always wanted. Love and acceptance. It's bad enough Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi and Hiruzen lied to him, kept him in the dark about his real family, and were never there for him when he needed them. Since his friends are dragged into this, Naruto had mixed feelings about having to fight them. He hoped to convince them to turn away and leave him alone. He didn't want to have to kill or beat them with an inch of their life. He wasn't going to treat Shikamaru, Choji and Hinata that way, but the others he would have to. Why couldn't they understand how happy he is? Now they want to seal away his wife and could possibly seal away his daughters or capture them for breeding. No. Naruto wasn't going to let that happen and consequences be damned. So Kakuzu and Haiden are both dead? Asks Sasori in a grunt. He and Deidara returned from Suna just when they were about to capture the Ichibi Jinchuriki. Yes, it has seemed that both of them fell at this Hachishaka-sama's hands, said Pain in an emotionless tone with everyone except Konan and Zetsu looking shocked at this. She killed them. How? Weren't they immortal? Asked Deidara, who looked completely shocked by this information. Itachi however stayed silent, but he couldn't help but shiver and sweat if he encountered Hachishaku-sama not wanting to challenge the urban legend. Kisame looked speechless staring at Pain and Konan. Not only did she kill them, but she also took the Nibi Jinchuriki and vanished away, spoke White Zetsu, finishing for Pain. What are we to do now with the loss of both Kakuzu and Haiden? Spoke Itachi in his monotone. I am not sure, but this Hachishaku-sama must be stopped. She is a threat to our plans. I have a hunch that she also has the Gobi Jinchuriki and Kyuubi Jinchuriki. We must get them back, Pain said, shocking everyone around him. Pain-san, are you sure that's a good idea? How can we stop Hachishaku-sama? It's suicidal for us all to go to wherever she is and take them from her. Said Itachi, not really wanting to go up against Hachishaku-sama. We all will go together and retrieve the 3 Jinchuriki she has protected, said Pain, turning towards Zetsu. Zetsu, find her location and come back to report us, he commanded, with Zetsu looking fearful and sweated at this command as he mentally prayed he would return safely in one piece. We will defeat this Hachishaku-sama and retrieve 3 of the Jinchuriki for peace and justice. I suggest everyone gets ready, said Pain, walking away, leaving the stunned group who all had fearful expressions on their faces. Mainly Konan and Itachi were truly afraid and didn't want to fight Hachishaku-sama. Right now would be a good time to leave the Akatsuki. But Konan wanted to at least talk Nagato out of this suicide mission he's leading them into. If she couldn't get through to him, then she would have no choice but to abandon the Akatsuki and him. Itachi knew it was foolish to challenge a urban legend. He knew the moment he and his fellow Akatsuki members reached to wherever location Hachishaku-sama was, there was no coming back alive. He wasn't stupid, and there was no way in hell he was going to risk his life just to capture a Jinchuriki. Right now his ties with the Akatsuki are over. But the retrieval squad. Retrieval squad were struggling, and they were trying their best to not get killed. Right now Zabuza had Jiraiya and Kakashi trapped in his hidden mist jutsu as the 2 veteran Konoha shinobi were back to back looking around in the mist on the lookout for Zabuza. Kakashi, can you see him? Asked Jiraiya, who was looking both ways. No, my Sharingan won't be able to track him in this mist, we just have to rely on our senses, spoke Kakashi in truth as he listened and waited for Zabuza to strike. Damn it. Wished I could enter my sage mode, but Ma and Pa refuses to help. We might as well have to rely on our senses, said Jiraiya, with a frown before his and Kakashi's instincts kicked in as they both ducked in order to dodge Zabuza's massive sword from cutting them in half. What's the matter, Kakashi and Jiraiya of the Sannin? Scared to die so soon? Taunted Zabuza in the mist. We're not dying anytime soon until we retrieve Naruto. Jiraiya shot back, hearing Zabuza chuckle echo through the mist. Really? That's laughable, and just what makes you 2 think you're getting him back from Hachishaku-sama? I know the brat no longer wants nothing to do with you 2. In fact, he wants nothing to do with Konoha. Stated Zabuza through the mist, making both Jiraiya and Kakashi glare. That's not true. Konoha is his home. Shouted Kakashi, holding his kunai. And Daniel, the boy is very happy with Hachishaku-sama from what I learned, said Zabuza, who appeared aside Jiraiya and Kakashi, getting ready to swing his sword, with Kakashi countering with an upward thrust with his kunai as their weapons clashed, causing sparks to fly. Not too far from them, Haku held all of the Jonin senseis including Anko and Iruka, trapping them in her ice dome full of ice mirrors. Inside the ice dome. Damn it. She's freezing us to death. Cursed Asuma, who tried to use one of his fire jutsus to try to free them from their icy prison, only to hear Haku's voice. It's useless, my ice powers are much stronger than before, said Haku coldly as she appeared in all of her mirrors before tossing senbons at their legs, disabling the men at their arms. Now just lay there and freeze, Haku said as she produced more snow and ice, turning it into a blizzard frenzy as ice started to form around their bodies, freezing them slowly. We're doomed. There's nothing we can do. Screamed Iruka, who felt his lower body freeze and turn to ice. Outside the ice dome. A little further away from Kakashi, Jiraiya and their senseis. The Konoha rookies all surrounded Kimimaro Kagaya, who stared at them holding his bone blade. We got you all cornered. Surrender. Kiba said, with Akamaru growling at Kimimaro, with everyone preparing to attack him. You all don't scare me, it's foolish to challenge me. The albino Kagaya said in a dull tone with an impassive face. I doubt it, you are completely surrounded. Just give up. Said Sakura, already have her fists charged with chakra ready to punch Kimimaro. How wrong you are, girl. I'm eternally grateful for what Hachishaka-sama has done and gifted me. I will see to it that none of you will go after Naruto, said Kimimaro, eyeing each of the rookies that have him surrounded. Get out of our way. We're going to save Naruto and seal away that 8-foot monster. Screeched Sakura, narrowing her green eyes at him. I'm afraid I can't let you do that, you have to get past me first. Kimimaro said as bright lightning bolt struck him, making the rookies jump back away from him as a dust cloud was shown as it died down. Hey, where the hell is he? Screamed Ino, who looked up completely shocked, as did many other rookies, as all the color drained from their faces, staring at where Kimimaro was. Instead of him, there was a 90-foot skeleton with its torso sticking out the ground, as every rookie shivered in fear at the sight of the giant skeleton in front of them. The giant skeleton clenched its teeth, making a gachi sound, also grinding the teeth. The skeleton stretched out its right hand, grabbing Ino, catching her in a vice grip. She screamed in horror as she barely could move. Ino! Screamed Tenten as she tossed several kunai and shurikens at the giant skeleton, only for them to bounce off, making her look shocked. Let her go. Yelled Shikamaru, tossing a kunai with an explosive tag attached to it as it hit the giant skeleton dead on, but no effect, which baffled them all. Here I come, Ino. Yelled Choji, who expanded both of his fists and punched the rib cage of the skeleton, only to cringe and scream in pain. His fists hardly did any damage. How was this possible? Sakura tried to save her friend by punching it, learning everything she has from Tsunade, but not even her mini Tsunade monster strength couldn't damage the skeleton either. This is impossible. Nothing is working. Just how are his bones so strong? It's almost as if they are indestructible. Said Niji. Not even his gentle fist style could do any good. Hold on, Ino. Just hold on, we're coming to save you. Said Sakura, who was worried for her friend, only for her eyes to widen when she saw what the skeleton was about to do. The giant skeleton opened its mouth, bringing Ino towards its mouth. Ino for her part looked horrified if this skeleton was going to eat her. Back to where Jiraiya and Kakashi. Both of them were in a bad shape, receiving serious cuts from fighting Zabuza. Apathetic, it looks like this is going to be my lucky day. I not only get to kill Kakashi, but Jiraiya of the Sannin as well. I'm really a happy man right now for this opportunity. Said Zabuza, hefting up his sword while pinning down Jiraiya, going to lop off the man's head. Jiraiya-sama. Said Kakashi, who was laying on the ground wounded on his chest, was badly slashed. Zabuza left a huge scar on the man. Wait your turn, Kakashi, you will join him soon, said Zabuza, grinning wide under his bandages. Any last words before you die, old man? Said Zabuza, holding his sword up. Damn you and that 8-foot bitch. Jiraiya yelled, spitting blood at Zabuza's face, which made the swordsman very angry, as just as he was going to behead Jiraiya, a Yuzu samurai appeared besides him. General Zabuza. I just recently received a message. From Mistress Hachishaka-sama. Said the Yuzu samurai, shocking both Kakashi and Jiraiya at this. Give it to me, Zabuza said while keeping his sword at Jiraiya's throat. He opened the scroll, reading everything up and down as a frown formed on his face. After reading the whole message, he tossed the scroll and got up off Jiraiya, sheathing his sword to his back. Haku. Kagaya brat. Stand down. He commanded as Haku dispelled her ice dome, releasing the Jonins, who were nearly froze to death. Kimimaro, in his Kashadakuro form, put Ino down as he reverted to normal, jumping towards Zabuza with Haku following him. What's wrong, Zabuza-sama? Asked Haku, looking at her adoptive father. There's been a change of plans. She doesn't want us to kill them, he replied, seeing their shocked expression. Are we actually letting them go? Asked Haku, seeing him nod. Yes, besides we already fucked them up. They would have no choice but to return back to their village for medical attention, he said, glaring at Jiraiya and Kakashi. General, here's also another message. It's for them, the Yuzu samurai said, holding a scroll, tossing it to Jiraiya, who caught it. What is this? Asked Jiraiya, seeing the Yuzu samurai scowl at him. That is from our cousin Naruto Uzumaki, he said with disdain towards Jiraiya. The Toad Sage looked shocked as he was about to open it, but stopped because now was not the time to do it at this moment. He'll do it once they get back to Konoha. Let's move, everyone, we're done here, Zabuza commanded, but sent a sharp glare at Jiraiya and Kakashi. Consider yourself lucky that she picked the time to not have you all killed, but if you all so much as attempt to look for Naruto and continue your mission, we will finish what we started here, Zabuza threatened in a dangerous tone that meant he was serious as he. Haku and Kimimaro, alongside their small group of Yuzu samurai, started leaving, returning to Hachishaku-sama, leaving the retrieval squad alone, who were all in a bad shape minus the rookies, as they had no choice but to return to Konoha for medical attention, since Sakura is not able to heal all of them by herself. With Naruto and Hachishaku-sama. Naru-kun, are you sure about this? What if they try to find our location? Asked Hachishaku-sama, who was in the bath with her husband, worried. If it comes that way then I will deal with them personally. I don't want Zabuza and the others to kill them. If push comes to shove I will handle them personally. Remember it's my turn to protect you and our daughters," he said as she scrubbed his back with soap while feeling her pregnant belly up against his back also. While Naruto was taking a nap, Hachishaku stared at her 3 daughters, having a talk with them telling them that she told their father the truth which made Tiko flinch a little, meaning her father might be disappointed in her. "He now knows the truth, but he is willing to protect us from his former village," said Hachishaku-sama, rubbing her pregnant belly. "So he is not angry at you or Tiko Ni-chan," spoke Sadako. "No, he's not angry with us, but he is willing to take responsibility and to protect us," said their mother. "And what about the retrieval squad? Why aren't they killed like how you wanted them to be?" asked Kayako while petting her black kitten. "Your father wanted them spared after he learned of who I sent after them, so I cancelled the order, but he sent a message to his former village," Hachishaku-sama said. "So what now? What should we do if Konoha tries to find our location and make an attempt to come here?" spoke Tiko looking at her mother. "That will be up to your father. He said he would deal with them personally and we have to trust him in doing that," she said softly. "What of the Akatsuki? It will only be a matter of time before they learn of our location and try to take father and our new pet cat away," spoke Kayako petting her black 2-tailed kitten that had blue flames emitted on the tip of the tails. "I don't know, but it's best we be prepared for them. I've already murdered 2 of their members just to get our new family cat. Our Yakai generals will defend our location should they come to where we are," spoke Hachishaku-sama staring out the window with her daughters looking at one another. "For the time being we have to trust your father and have faith in him protecting us. We already protected him, now it's his turn," she said with a soft smile. Konoha 3 days later. Things had went down south when the retrieval squad returned. Tsunade and Shizune had took the whole squad to the hospital to get their wounds healed and treated from fighting off the 3 Yakai generals. Tsunade demanded a report on what happened and Jiraiya was the one who told it. "She learned the reanimation jutsu." "Ito-tensei," spoke Tsunade who looked very surprised. "Yes, and in a way she perfected it somehow. She revived Mamachi Zabuza, Mamachi Haku, and Kagaya Kimimaro with a handful of Yuzu samurais." Jiraiya spoke with Shizune and Tsunade looking quite shocked. "How did she know you guys were coming for Naruto?" asked Tsunade looking at her former teammate with disbelief. "I don't know how she knew. I asked myself the same thing. She really doesn't want us looking for Naruto, damn it," said Jiraiya sitting in his hospital bed. "Great. Just great. It can't just get any worse, can it? First the Fire Lord Daimyo was assassinated and a whole academy of monks and priestesses were massacred on the same day of his death," Tsunade yelled, which earned a shocked look from Jiraiya. "The Daimyo was killed. By who?" yelled Jiraiya. "No one knows. They are still investigating the case and assassination. His family are already in mourning while placing his brother as the new daimyo," said Tsunade with a sigh. "The massacre of the monks and priestesses. Anyone found out who is the murderer?" asked Jiraiya who just couldn't believe how things had fallen. "Well, one priestess was a sole survivor of the massacre. Her mouth was slit ear to ear. I couldn't even heal her mouth, but she told us a description of who the murderer was. The murderer was a woman with black long hair, emotionless blue eyes. She wore a beige trench coat and surgical procedure mask armed with scissors and a sickle scythe," explained Tsunade with Jiraiya even looking more horrified at the information. "Don't tell me this woman is Kuchisakana. Another urban legend. Hachishaku-sama was bad enough, but Kuchisakana," exclaimed Jiraiya. "We don't know if it's Kuchisakana for sure and there's a possibility she could be linked to the assassination of the daimyo," said Tsunade with a shiver. "So now that we failed the mission, what are we going to do now?" said Sakura who came in after listening to the conversation. "I don't know. I'm afraid you all are not ready for the time being. You all will have to train. Next month we will try the mission again," spoke Tsunade sadly with Shizune, Jiraiya and Sakura looking down. "I have a message from those Yuzu samurais and it's from Naruto," said Jiraiya, seeing the shocked looks on Shizune, Tsunade and Sakura's faces. "We should read it and see what it says," said Sakura, but Tsunade shook her head. "No, I'll read it to all of you." Tomura was Tsunade's words as she turned towards the hospital window staring at the horizon. But Zetsu, the plant-like member of the Akatsuki, was tracking Hachishaku-sama's location and he felt like backing out knowing this was suicidal and he had every right to be afraid. He just hoped he could make it out of here in one piece. Wait, is this where she is?" White Zetsu said, widening his eye. "There's no mistaking it, so this is where she has hidden the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. I can detect his chakra from here. Hard to believe that Hachishaku-sama was living here in Yuzushiogakure," said Black Zetsu. "Think we should go now? Before she notices we're here?" said White Zetsu who was worried. "I suppose we should report back to Pain-sama and tell," spoke Black Zetsu, but paused when he heard a croaking sound and bones creaking. A chill ran down their spine when they heard it. Turning around, they saw a pale girl staring at them emotionlessly wearing a white dress as she croaked. "What's this intruder? Trespassing on mother and father's property?" yelled Kayako as she appeared beside Zetsu so fast that she grabbed him and started mauling him. Aihhhhh. Screamed Zetsu together, feeling Kayako twist their arms and ripped off his Akatsuki cloak, ripping him to shreds. Zetsu tried to crawl away or go intangible, but he could not when Kayako grabbed him by his legs with her hair. "You're not going anywhere. I believe my older sister would like to meet you and torture you for information," said Kayako as she crept in the shadows, using her hair to drag Zetsu in the abyss of darkness as he screamed with his fingers gripping to the ground, but his fingernails scratched up the ground as Kayako's hair dragged him harder into the darkness as he was never seen. "Joke him harder, Kayako, tighten your hair around his neck," spoke the cold voice of Tiko Uzumaki, glaring at the near-death, beaten Zetsu as Kayako's hair tightened around his neck, harder, strangling him as if he was caught in a hangman's noose. Sadako was in the background watching her two sisters torture Zetsu. Tiko held up her scissors as the blades were coated in corrosive yokai chakra. Zetsu was gagging and gagging hard due to him being strangled by hair. "We will talk, Akatsuki," she said, raising her hand in a gesture to tell Kayako to hold him as Tiko stepped forward and jabbed her scissors in Zetsu's chest, making both halves scream as the corrosive yokai chakra fried their nervous system and was burning them in the inside as she amplified more yokai chakra into his body, burning him up in the insides, making him both scream in absolute agony. "We will never talk. You won't get anything from us," exclaimed Black Zetsu in pain. "Never. We will not speak a word," said White Zetsu defiantly at Tiko, who narrowed her eyes. "Then I'll just have to make you talk," she said coldly while pulling out two butcher knives and started gutting Zetsu like a fish as both halves screamed. "Hayako, summon your cat to roast him alive," Tiko said, moving away as the black two-tailed cat appeared as it hissed at Zetsu, opening its mouth, breathing a blue wave of fire on the plant man, burning him to embers. Ai. Screamed both Zetsu, screaming in pain, being burned alive as Tiko did a hand gesture telling the cat to back off. "It hurts. It hurts like hell. What is this? The Nibi's fire," screamed White Zetsu. "Are you ready to talk now?" asked Tiko with an ice voice, staring her emotionless eyes at him. "You do your worst, bitch. We're not scared of you," exclaimed Black Zetsu, trying to ease the pain, but the fire was so great that it was actually hurting him. "Oh, you will be," Tiko said, pulling out her sickle ready to chop him. Slash. Both halves screamed much harder as White Zetsu screamed much more as he lost his left arm, seeing the stump of it on the floor now being burned by Kayako's cat. Okay. Please stop. No more. I'll talk," pleaded White Zetsu, who couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't stand the pain. "Then speak. Or else," Tiko demanded, pointing her sickle at his neck. "Why have you come to our location? Tell us now," she commanded, amplified her sickle with yokai chakra. "Please, no more pain. We were just following orders. Please, I beg you to spare us. If we tell you everything," White Zetsu pleaded, not wanting any more pain. Kayako narrowed her eyes as her hair tightened on his neck. "We shall see about that. You are a prisoner now and I'm the one interrogating you until mother gets here. Leave anything out and I will increase the pain," she said, watching him with a cautious stare. "Don't you dare tell her a soul," yelled Black Zetsu as he screamed, feeling a butcher knife run right through him. "Silence," she yelled at Black Zetsu while keeping her attention on White Zetsu. "Our leader sent us to look for the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, the Gobi and Nibi. Seeing how Hachishaka-sama has them here. Please, we were just following orders. We wanted to go against it knowing how terrifying Hachishaka-sama is. But we had no choice," White Zetsu said, feeling Kayako's hair get tighter around his neck. "And now you're going to pay the price for coming here once mother is through with you," Tiko said with an evil grin behind her surgical procedure mask. "This is a minor setback. You can't stop us. Not until we completed our mission for our mother," said Black Zetsu defiantly while Tiko shot him a quick glance. "Who?" asked Tiko with both halves of Zetsu grinning evilly. "The Gaia, mother to the sage of six paths, she is the moon goddess and mother of chakra itself. Our purpose was to carry out her will. Once the infinite Tsukiyomi has been projected, she will return. Which is why we of the Akatsuki are dead set on capturing the Jinchuriki and remove their tailed beasts. To revive the 10 tails," said Black Zetsu with Tiko having a blank stare. "We told you enough. Now just kill us and be done with it," said White Zetsu. Po. Zetsu felt their blood freeze when they heard this chant as they cocked their glance in the dark shadows, seeing Hachishaku-sama walking out of it in a scary way, and she was smiling evilly like a devil, which would have made Zetsu piss himself. "Step aside, girls," Hachishaku-sama said as all three of her daughters obeyed as Zetsu fell flat on the ground looking up at Hachishaku-sama, in fear, seeing her tower of them. "Well, wait. Please. Don't kill us," said Zetsu together as Hachishaka-sama said nothing as two golden red chains appeared out of her back with hooks as they latched onto Zetsu's body as it started to drain not just their chakra but their life force and essence. Ai. Arg. Screamed Zetsu in absolute pain as White Zetsu looked down wide in his eye in shock. He was melting. What's going on? My life force. It's fading. She's draining us dry. No. No. Screamed Black Zetsu in thought seeing his own body start to melt. I'm melting. Melting. Make it stop. Save us Obito. Save us Madara. Save us mother. Screamed White Zetsu letting out a ear-piercing shriek as he was successfully drained and melted. No. I refuse to accept it. Never. Thought Black Zetsu feeling his life almost gone. Mother. Help. Mother. Mothier. Were Black Zetsu's last pleas and screams as he was successfully drained and melted just like his white half. Hachishaku-sama completely absorbed their life force, their essence along with something else as she grinned a ear-to-ear smile. How was it mother? Asked Tiko. It feels great replied Hachishaku-sama turning around shocking all three of her daughters when they saw her eyes change. In Konoha Hospital. Tsunade, with Shizune, Jiraiya, the Jonins, Iruka, Anko and Konohamaru and his friends alongside the rookies of Konoha, all gathered in one room looking at their leader who was holding the scroll which contained Naruto's message for them. This included Tucci and Am. They were called for this just to hear Naruto's message. Tsunade opened up the scroll and started reading what Naruto had said. Hello Hokage-sama. I bet you and the others are pretty surprised to get a letter from me within this scroll. In this scroll I placed your necklace inside. I wanted you to have it back. Hachi-chan had told me what this necklace does and she suggested I give it back to you. But for right now let's cut to the chase about what I'm really saying in this message. This goes mainly to you, Jiraiya, Haddock and my friends. You tried to endanger them. Please, don't come looking for me. Can't you see I'm living a happy life with Hachi-chan and our family? I don't want to return to that shithole for a village. I've had it. I'm through being the village's scapegoat. Now you had the audacity to send Toadful, Haddock and my friends after me to bring me back to a village that hates me. I'm not coming back whether you like it or not. I'm done being a shinobi and want to chase after my goal of being Hokage. I'm very not happy with all of you. After learning my heritage, Hachi-chan told me on my 16th birthday, you all lied to my face and were never there for me. The only people I will accept who's been there for me is old man Tucci Amni-chan. And Iruka-sensei. This also includes my three true friends who accepted me and never shunned me. And I'm referring to Shikamaru, Choji and Hinata-chan. As for Konohamaru, buddy, I think you will do great as Hokage. Do me a favor and train hard enough to be the greatest Hokage ever. Live in my current dream for me, pal. The old man Tucci and Amni-chan. I'm doing great, don't worry. Hachi-chan has me well fed with ramen that tastes as good as yours. I want to thank you too for being there for me. Iruka-sensei, thank you being the only academy teacher that never shunned me or saw me as a monster. I hope someday I see you. Please don't worry about me or come for me. Tsunade Senju. Please don't send any more shinobi after me or attempt to seal away Hachi-chan. Because if you do, I won't be merciful when I fight them. The Haddock and Jiraiya. From what Hachi-chan told me, the both of you knew my father. She's told me the truth about everything. You, Kakashi, Hiruzen and Tsunade lied to me and kept me in the dark about my heritage and rightful knowledge of my real family. Haddock, I no longer acknowledge you as my sensei and have lost respect for you. You knew my father and could have trained me. You barely trained me during our genin exam and on our mission to Wave. Don't think I know about your little private lessons to teach Sasuke everything you knew. You even humiliated me and berated my skillset for the upcoming Chunin exams finals. You brushed me off to Abisu who doesn't even like me, casting me aside so you can train Sasuke. Well, I'm through being your student and tell Sakura that she can go fetch Sasuke herself because I'm not doing it. And to my so-called godfather, where the hell have you been for the past 13 years of my life? Huh? Oh, no need to tell me knowing exactly where you've been. You were peeping in bathhouses and writing porn. Well, I lived a horrible life in the village. You forsaken me just to peep, write porn and chase after Orochimaru. The moment we started this training trip, all you did was left me alone in a motel and didn't teach me a thing while you went to go peep at women. You left me alone for 13 years. I spent 13 years without no one in my life. Aside from Tucci, Am and Iruka. I will never forgive you and I no longer want nothing to do with you, Kakashi and Tsunade. I'm through with all of you in Konoha together. So do me a favor for once, godfather, leave me the hell alone. I'm staying with Hachi-chan for the rest of my life, and if any of you try to interfere in my new life and drag me back to that hellhole of a village, I will vent out all of my pent-up anger I have held so long to unleash on all of you. And you better believe that I will unleash that anger upon you. Goodbye. From En Uzumaki. Tsunade could only cry tears at what she read, though she wasn't the only one. Kakashi and Jiraiya were. Sensei, please forgive me, I've been a blind fool, thought Kakashi, holding back his tears in shame at how much of a failure he had been as a sensei to Naruto. Jiraiya kept his glance on the ground, unable to show his teary expression. Deep down, he was truly hurt by what he heard from Naruto in the message. Minato Kushina, I'm sorry, what a failure I've been to protect your son. I doubt I will earn your forgiveness if I go to the afterlife, thought Jiraiya, clenching his fists. He prayed that Naruto wouldn't hate him, but in truth Jiraiya deserved every bit of it due to him leaving Naruto alone, and it was nobody's fault but himself. Shizune, who was next to Tsunade, had tears in her eyes. Sakura and many of the rookies looked on in shock at what Naruto said in the message. Sakura took it the hardest. Naruto never considered her as a friend. And he even told her that she can go chase Sasuke herself. The only ones who took it better was Teuchi, Am, Haruka, Shikamaru, Choji and Hinata, who held small tears but wiped them away, a little happy that Naruto considered her, Shikamaru and Choji, as his real friends. Konohamaru and his friends couldn't believe their boss gave up his dream of being Hokage and is passing it to Konohamaru himself. They were a little sad that they could no longer see their boss again. Nobody said a word after hearing Naruto's message, and they wondered what to do now after reading it. Would they leave Naruto be? Or try to bring him back to fix their mistakes and amends? Only time will tell. Nobody bothered to utter a word after hearing Naruto's message, as they stood silent and just replayed his words to make sure they heard right. Naruto, are you sure this is what you want? Were Iruka's thoughts worried about the boy he saw as a little brother or son? Sure, he understood Naruto had a hard life, but wanting to stay with a urban legend that prays after children and is happy. He wasn't the only one thinking the same thought, so were Teuchi and Am. Jiraiya still kept his saddened expression on the ground, not wanting to show his tears, as he replayed a few memories of why Naruto shouldn't forgive him. Now you calling him your godson? After all those years of loneliness he went through? What gives you the right to even call him your godson when you neglected your duties to look after him on your students' behalf? Spoke Hachishaku-sama in his memory. It's too late for that. Naruto boy will probably never forgive you. You had 13 years to be by Minato's tadpole, but for what? Just to chase after Orochimaru and go peep at women? What makes you think Naruto boy will forgive you or anyone else who wronged him? Perhaps Naruto would be better off with Hachishaku-sama than you and Konoha were. Pause words in Jiraiya's memory. After hearing those words played in his head, he looked up at a picture of the Yondaime looking into the eyes of Minato. Those blue eyes were filled with anger, disgust, and disappointment that made Jiraiya flinch, looking away from the picture, unable to stare at it any longer. So what can we do now? Are we just going to let him go? Spoke Anko, who was the first to break the silence. I don't know, I am not sure the slightest, spoke Tsunade in a sad tone. But we can't just leave him with her. What if Hachishaku-sama is influencing him to say this? Said Sakura, not wanting to believe what everything Naruto has said. And what is this heritage he spoke of? Asked Shikamaru, staring at Tsunade while many of the Jonin stared at him. Shikamaru said Asuma, but paused when Jiraiya raised his hand. No, Asuma, it's time we tell them the truth, spoke Jiraiya, making the others in the room look confused at what he said. Jiraiya-sama, are you sure we should tell them? Spoke Kakashi, already aware of what Jiraiya meant. It's time they knew, the Toad Sage replied, giving Tsunade a knowing look as she sighed, putting the message down and stared at everyone in the room who was looking at her. Know what truth about Naruto-kun? Said Hinata, wanting to know exactly what truth there was about her crush. Seeing that Tsunade had no choice but to reveal the secret as she began telling everyone in the room the truth. 15 minutes later. Everybody had wide eyes and were silent, staring at Tsunade, Kakashi and Jiraiya. Well, this is even troublesome. I had a feeling that Naruto could be related to Yondaime-sama. After staring back and forth at the picture of Yondaime-sama and Naruto, sighed Shikamaru. So Naruto-san isn't just a Jinchuriki, but also the Yondaime's heir? And why doesn't the village know about this? Spoke Shino. Sarutobi-sensei felt like it was best to hide Naruto's heritage until he was old enough and strong enough, or at the very least a Chunin. You see, if word got out that Naruto was Minato's son, then all of Minato's enemies outside the village will come for him and kill him out of spite and revenge. Minato made a lot of enemies during the Third Shinobi War, explained Jiraiya. Please understand why this had to be kept a secret, spoke Jiraiya. Oh, we understand perfectly, Jiraiya-san, spoke Hinata in a brand new cold voice, causing him to flinch, with Kurenai looking at her student in shock. So all these years we have been told lies of the Kyuubi's defeat and so-called demise Naruto was going through. Being a scapegoat for the villagers to mistreat. Even restaurants shun him out so they wouldn't serve him food. Spoke Choji in disgust. Choji, take it easy. You have to understand. Many have lost close friends and family members on the night of the Kyuubi attack. My father did everything he could. Said Asuma. Excuses. Grandpa was the Hokage. He could have done more to protect Naruto Nai-chan. That's nothing that can justify what boss was made to go through in his life by our own very people. Spat Konohamaru, very upset. Permission to speak freely. Tsunade-sama spoke Hinata with ice, making many flinch at the coldness in her voice. It was clear that she was angry. It all made sense to her. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Kakashi and everyone else who wronged Naruto in any way was their fault, that he was not coming back, hiding his heritage from him, leaving him all alone, making him lonely and unprotected. It just wasn't fair. Permission granted, she replied. Naruto-kun trusted all of you, including the Sandaime. He spent his entire life growing up alone with no family to call on his own, always wondering if he had any family left. Naruto-kun's life was a living hell. Villagers ignored, rejected or just downright hated him and even went so far to hurt him. How do you think the Yondaime feel if he were alive to witness this? I don't blame Naruto-kun not one bit on why he isn't coming back. You are to blame. He has every right to be angry. And disgusted, maybe even hate you. Shouted Hinata with tears running down her face. Hinata spoke Kurenai but flinched when she saw Hinata blaze her Byukigen in fury. All we're doing is taking away his happiness. And Hachishaka-sama is his main happiness. And you want to simply take that away from him. He was already denied happiness in his terrible childhood. And you want to destroy his one chance of happiness. Ranted Hinata. She couldn't help but envy or feel jealous that Hachishaka-sama was starting a family with her Naruto-kun. That was her dream to be, and now she lost hope in having that dream. I have never been angry before in my entire life. I have lost respect for you, Jiraiya, and Kakashi-sensei and anyone else who wronged Naruto-kun. Spat Hinata before running out the door. Hinata has a point. I agree with her. It will be a while before I can look at all of you ever again. Might as well leave Naruto alone, said Shikamaru, who turned away, walking out the door with Choji following him, nodding in agreement. Hinata is right. If Naruto is safe with this Hachishaka-sama and is happy, then we should just leave it alone, said Iruka, who was now leaving with Tucci and Am following him. The tensions were now heavy. It seemed that Hinata, Choji, Shikamaru, even Konohamaru, Haruka, Am and Tucci were disgusted and very angry. Jiraiya and Kakashi could only look down. Tsunade's expression was shadowed. It seemed that things have just gotten much worse than it could have. Tsunade could only sigh sadly as she stared at the necklace that once belonged to her great-grandfather. She had given this necklace to Naruto when he and Jiraiya came to bring her back as fifth Hokage. She stared at it long and hard, almost wanting to swell more tears. After reading that message from Naruto, she was devastated. It broke her heart to hear his words from the message, and that Hachishaka-sama had sank her claws into the boy she once saw as a brother or son. It was almost like Hachishaka-sama was making Naruto hate her. Now Tsunade knew that she was part Uzumaki from her great-grandma's side of the family, seeing that the Senju and Uzumakis were like cousins. Meaning Naruto was the closest thing she had for family, and she wasn't there for him on the night of his birth. She was devastated over Kushina's death and let her grief and anger overwhelm her when she should have been there for Naruto instead of leaving the village paying debts, gambling and drinking lots of sake to keep her grief at bay due to her losses. She lost her little brother, her lover Dan and Kushina. She made a terrible choice and wished she could make things right. She once had a dream that her great-grandfather, her grand-uncle great-grandma Mito and Kushina stared at her with disappointment and disgust. She could tell they weren't happy and she had an idea on why they were looking at her like that. She noticed Shizune wouldn't even look at her earlier in the evening. Shizune brought in paperwork and had not looked at her master and didn't even want to talk to Tsunade. Tsunade thought this long and hard. Is it worth letting Naruto go and be with Hachishaka-sama? Did Tsunade really want to strip away his only happiness, bringing him back here to a village that hated him? Perhaps Hinata and Shikamaru were right. Naruto had every right to be angry at her and she was to blame, but Tsunade actually blames Kakashi, Jiraiya and her sensei since they played a part in this too, especially her sensei and Jiraiya. They were all to blame and failed Naruto, and it was nobody's fault but theirs. She just wished she could do anything to get back in Naruto's good graces, but she knew it was too late, 13 years too late. She guessed maybe it was best that Naruto stays with Hachishaka-sama. Wanting nothing more than to sob and cry, her window opened as she figured it was Jiraiya. As soon as she saw him, all she did was scowl at him. Jiraiya flinched at her seething scowl of hatred that he saw in her face. "What the hell are you doing here, Jiraiya?" she hissed, glaring daggers at him. He started before being interrupted. "Whatever you say will not get me in a good grace. I don't want to hear nothing from you," she said with a sneer. "Tsunade, please hear me out," he pleaded. It hurt him hearing Tsunade's angry voice, and he had an idea on why she was like this towards him. "No, I will not hear from you, just leave, Jiraiya. I don't want to see your face, you two-faced son of a bitch. Go chase your whores. Go peep at women, you fucking pervert. Whatever respect I had for you is gone. You couldn't even stay for 13 years to be what you promised Minato. Doing your responsibility as a godfather." She spat with him, looking away, feeling more hurt than ever hearing her words as guilt washed over him. "This is all your fault. Had you not left to go fucking peep at a woman and train Naruto like you were supposed to, Hachishaka-sama wouldn't have never sank her claws into him and took him away from us," she yelled with tears running down her face. Tsunade, please, I know I fucked up big time and I want to take full responsibility. Please. There is still time. I know we can fix our mistakes. I know Naruto will find it in his heart to forgive us. He said. Trying to reason with her and wants to fix the bridge that once bonded him and Naruto. There is no time, we lost that right the moment we lied to Naruto and weren't there to look after him, just get the fuck out of my office, Jiraiya, she said, turning away. Because right now Naruto belongs to Hachishaka-sama and there's nothing we can do, she whispered. Please, all we need to do is go to Uzashigakure and find Naruto there. That's the only place we haven't looked, and if Hachishaku-sama is there then so is he. He was going to keep talking, but froze when he saw Tsunade's burning glare. Forget it, Jiraiya, we aren't taking him from Hachishaku-sama. I want to at least earn back his love and forgiveness for my cowardice and not being there for him, so just leave it alone, she said, shocking him. You can't be serious. We can't leave him there with that monster. No godson of mine is going to be with that 8-foot monster. I'm not letting her corrupt him any longer than she has already. He was going to keep talking but was interrupted when Tsunade punched his jaw, sending him to a wall. Shut the fuck up. Don't you dare call him your godson. You already lost that right. Just face it. He belongs to Hachishaku-sama. Now get up and leave, Jiraiya, and if you don't I will seriously kill you myself. Tsunade spoke coldly, seeing him rub swollen jaw as he glared at her and jumped out the window without saying another word. With a sigh, she plopped down her chair near her desk, sighing sadly as she stared at the picture of Naruto. Naruto-kun, I'm so sorry, I hope someday you will find it in your heart to forgive me, Tsunade said, staring at the picture before sobbing. Unknown to her, outside the office, a certain Hyuga heiress had heard the whole conversation as she vanished before she was seen. Hyuga compound. Hinata was packing her things, getting ready to leave, sealing all of her stuff into a scroll, also taking her cinnamon rolls with her. Now where was the Hyuga heiress going to, and why is she packing up her belongings and clothes? After hearing Tsunade's and Jiraiya's argument and the location of where her crush was, Hinata decided she leaves Konoha. She couldn't live without Naruto or accept the fact that he was forever gone and within Hachishaku-sama's grasp. She felt like the world was ending when she heard his message that he was starting a family and was staying with Hachishaku-sama forever. No, all her life she dreamed of one day telling Naruto how she feels about him and dreamed of marrying him and starting a family with him, but now that dream was crushed when Hachishaku-sama came into the picture, but felt like it wasn't too late since she now learned his heritage. He was the last Uzumaki in Namikaze, meaning he could start the Kra. There was slight hope that she could still be with him, that is if Hachishaku-sama was willing to share him with her. There was no turning back. She may never see her father, her clan, her sister, her cousin and team ever again. She didn't care, she wanted to be with Naruto, and she was going to get what she wanted. Besides, her father or clan wouldn't miss her due to them favoring her little sister more, since she had more potential in being a better heiress than she was. Opening her window, getting out before leaving her Konoha headband and a letter behind on her bed. She dashed off, vanishing without a trace. She was going to Uzashigakure to meet Naruto and Hachishaku-sama. Elsewhere in a forest in the west of Iowa, in an isolated location in the mountains of a small shrine and home that were housed by a young priestess, Atako, middle-aged black short-haired woman wearing a traditional priestess robe as she was carrying tea to her grandpa who was meditating in his private shrine. "Grandpa?" Atako asked, seeing her grandpa open his eyes softly, turning to her with a weary gaze. "I've brought your tea, is something wrong?" she asked, staring at the elder man who was standing up grabbing his cane. "It's a disaster," he breathed out. "What are you saying, Grandpa?" she asked, confused. "Those foolish monks in Fire Country, I prayed that she would not return and be free, but I guess my prayer failed," he said, grabbing his cup, filling it with his green tea. "Who are you referring to?" she asked, really wanting to know who was her grandpa talking about. "Hachishaku-sama is free, and I doubt I would have the power to seal her away again," he said, with his granddaughter froze in shock. She remembered her grandpa telling stories about Hachishaku-sama and that he was the one who sealed her away with the help of his master. "Where are we going, Grandpa?" she asked, seeing him get up walking with his cane. "I'm going to the basement, I have something there should Hachishaku-sama return," he said as he kept walking with his granddaughter following. Konoha. A day later. Hinata abandoned Konoha? Asked Kurenai in shock, looking at Tsunade in shock with the rookies. "Yes, Niji found her letter and shinobi headband laying on her bed," said Tsunade, with Kurenai looking horrified as her team Shino and Kiba looked more shocked. "We have to stop her. There's no telling what Hachishaku-sama will do to her," said Kiba, with Akamaru nodding in agreement. So it seems she couldn't take it or even accept the fact Naruto is within Hachishaku-sama's arms and decided to go rogue in an attempt to be with him and her, spoke Shikamaru with a sigh. "Where do you think Hinata will go to if she's looking for Naruto?" asked Shino, with Tsunade sighing. "She's going to Uzashigakure, the land of whirlpools, an isolated island and former home of the Uzumaki clan," spoke Tsunade. "We have to retrieve her. There's no telling what Hachishaku-sama will do to her." said Kurenai, worried for her student. The Ashi came in the office, shocking many. He had a scowl formed on his face. So what's this about my daughter abandoning her clan and village just to chase after the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? The Hyuga clan head said with coldness, upset that his own daughter would do something so foolish. The Ashi-sama, spoke Niji. The Ashi, we are going to try to bring your daughter back, okay, spoke Tsunade, giving the man a stern glare. Don't try, just do, Hokage-sama. It seems I will make Hanabi the next Hyuga heiress, with Hinata gaining punishment for her abandonment. She will be given the cage bird seal and moved to the branch family, he spoke with many giving him looks of shock and disgust. Wait a minute, Ashi. Don't you think you're punishing Hinata a little too far? Protested Kurenai, scowling at the Hyuga clan head. I don't care, I've had it. She threw away her clan, her team and this village, just to be with that boy. I might as well disown her, said Hiashi, while he looked directly towards the Hokage, who was narrowing her eyes at the man. We will bring your daughter back if that is possible, said Tsunade, daring Hiashi to badmouth Naruto. Very well, I hope you do return her, he said, turning away and left the office. When can we go now? Asked Kurenai. I'll lead them to Yuzashii Agakure, spoke Jiraiya, who appeared. Denied. Jiraiya, you are not going, said Tsunade. She was not about to have Jiraiya go and get Naruto back. I'm leading them. If Hinata is going to Yuzashii Agakure, nobody knows that place better than me, he replied with Tsunade sighing, seeing he had a point there. Alright, I'll let you go, but only manage to get Hinata before she reaches Naruto and Hachishaka-sama. If you are too late, then Hachishaka-sama might kill Hinata, or spoke Tsunade, who didn't want to finish the sentence. Take Asuma, Kurenai and the rookies to Yuzashii Agakure. Bring Hinata safely, spoke Tsunade, seeing him, and the others nodded as they left her office. A week later. Hinata was on a boat going to the land of Whirlpool. She recently borrowed a boat from Wave County and was going to see if she could reach Naruto. Once she made it to the sandy beaches of Yuzashii Agakure, she looked both ways and activating her Byakugan, walking forward heading into the forest, but stopped when she saw a chakra signature with Yakai chakra. Frowning a little, she noticed the trees and ground was turning into ice and it started snowing a little. A snow entity appeared in a white kimono with blue snowflakes on it as her yellow eyes brightened. It was Haku, who is now the spirit of Yuki-onna. It's you, you're the Hyuga girl from the retrieval mission. What are you doing here? Asked Haku, pulling out her ice enbans. I have not come to fight you, I've come to see Naruto-kun and Hachishaku-sama. I'm unarmed and no longer wear the Konoha shinobi headband no more. Please take me to Naruto-kun and Hachishaku-sama, Hinata said, hoping the snow woman would take her as Haku frowned. Judging from your suffix on Naruto-kun, you seem to like him and he is somewhat precious to you, which made you abandon your village. I will take you to Naruto-kun and Hachishaku-sama, spoke Haku, motioning the Hyuga girl to follow her. With Naruto. Diko was in her room, sharpening her scissors, her sickle, her butcher knives, and was creating something. Sadako and Kayako were playing together as their pet black cat with two tails and unusual eyes were watching them play. Hachishaku-sama was in kitchen cooking dinner, wearing her apron and white dress with Naruto in the kitchen, with her watching his said wife. As he walked up to her and leaned up against her, she purred a little, feeling him behind her as she giggled. What you cooking, Hachi-hime? He asked, putting his arms around her hips. Making chicken ramen, rice balls and dango, she said, smiling, stirring up her ramen in the bowl she was cooking for the family. Rubbing her pregnant belly, he said. Just one more month and our new babies will be born, he said, with her nodding and smiling, patting her stomach. Also, she couldn't wait to give birth to her two new daughters. She remembered when she first gave birth to Tiko Uzumaki, her firstborn and daughter. Also, she was the spirit of Kuchisakana, the slit-mouth woman. And after Tiko was born, loved and cared for by both Naruto and Hachishaku-sama. By the time Tiko was growing up, Hachishaku-sama wanted more children. She wanted to give Naruto as many as he wanted, besides he was the only Uzumaki and Namikaze, reviving both clans with just her alone. 2 years after Tiko grew up, Hachishaku-sama was pregnant again and gave birth to Sadako Uzumaki and Kayako Uzumaki. A pair of both had the spirits of one Sadako of the ring and cursed tape and Kayako Siki from the cursed Siki house and his avengeful Anio. She loved all three of her daughters, as they all resembled and bared the aspects of the vengeful Yakai and Japan spirits. Even Naruto loved all three of his daughters. He didn't care if they were Yakais, they are his children by blood, and he still loved them despite their actions behind his back. Tiko Uzumaki. Sadako Uzumaki. Kayako Uzumaki. 3 daughters both her and Naruto loved. Tiko and Kayako were more like her, while Sadako was like both Naruto and Hachishaku-sama combined. Their newborn twins were going to be named Aoi Uzumaki and Michio Uzumaki. And I know I was supposed to name one of her twins Yuki and was supposed to give her the spirit of Yuki-onna, but changed it due to Haku possessing the Yuki-onna entity. So I changed it to Michio from the Hachishaku Doujin series. With a soft smile, she added more chicken to the ramen while Kamimura arrived in their household. Hachishaku-sama, Naruto-sama, said the albino half-skeleton Kagaya. Yes. Was Naruto's reply with Hachishaka-sama and her daughters looking at him. Aku has found a visitor on the beach and is bringing her here, said Kimimaro. Who is the stranger that had come to our island? Asked Hachishaku-sama with his brow raised. Her name is Hinata Hyuga, he replied with Naruto wide-eyed and was shocked. While Hachishaku-sama had an amused look, she had an idea on why the Hyuga girl was here. Bring her to me, spoke Hachishaku-sama, grinning, walking off to go see this Hyuga girl herself. Hinata-chan, what are you doing here? Was Naruto's thought. Hinata was being escorted to the living room as Hachishaku-sama was sitting on the couch with Tiko at her side, staring at the former Hyuga heiress. Welcome to Yuzushi Agakure, Hinata Hyuga greeted Hachishaku-sama in a former tone, with the Hyuga girl looking at Hachishaku-sama in shock. This woman was very tall. And very big. And she looked to be pregnant. Hinata nodded weakly, regaining from her surprise and shock at meeting Hachishaku-sama in person. Do take a seat, we have much to discuss. And why did you come here? Hachishaku-sama said, with the Hyuga girl coming over and was sitting sweating and a little nervous about what this discussion the two were going to have, as her eyes also went to Tiko Uzumaki, who was holding her scissors. Shrine temple in Iwa. In the basement, going through everything he had stored down here, trying to find what he had that could stop Hachishaku-sama. Grandpa? Asked Atako, worried about what her grandpa was doing. Going through various chests and cases, he still couldn't find what he was looking for. Here, hold this, he said, passing her a Jizo seal statue as he continued looking for something. Yes. I found it. He said at last. What did you find? His granddaughter asked. I found the Vajra, an ancient weapon I had asked a famed blacksmith to create for me. Should I continue my services as a monk? He specifically said this weapon was forged to kill yakais. This weapon can't possibly fail at killing Hachishaku-sama, he said, blowing the dust off the weapon. But grandpa, I thought you said Hachishaku-sama couldn't be killed. And that she was immortal. His granddaughter replied as he frowned. I know I said that, but this was after Hachishaku-sama was sealed away. I requested this weapon to be made should Hachishaku-sama return, he said, staring at it. But what if it doesn't kill her? She then asked as he frowned deeper. If this doesn't kill her, then nothing will. The only option is to seal her away like before, but I will need help from a seal's master, he spoke. What if Naruto leaves Konoha and has a child? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.